market because they did the research and the analytics to it, and they saw that it was a viable market to make money in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so in making money in this market, they was already forecasting an upward trend,
Yeah.
right? So Nintendo said, man, if we get these guys in, they can probably break off and become stronger. So what we're going to do is double down on this cartridge because we don't want our stuff pirated, and we're going to stay that way. When they did that, Sony went back to research and development, came up with their PlayStation, their disk drive, and got the biggest acquisition in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
That swayed
Right.
everything.
You're
That
right.
turned the battle right there.
Yeah.
That turned the whole war.
Yeah.
So Sony became champions there. They didn't defeat Sega in the sense that Sega defeated themselves. Sega was reeling from Nintendo. Sony came in, grabbed the big market share. So
Yeah.
these guys were scrambling with their 32X and their Dreamcast and the Saturn.
Yep.
They diluted their pool, and it was putting out arcade games with no home thought. They
Fact.
just thought that they can make arcade games and it would translate to the home. It wasn't. It's two different things. So they killed their self, but Sony got the credit for just pushing them down because, yeah, Sony became the de facto either number one or number two, however you looked at it, right?
Yeah.
But they continue to grow and cultivate their first-party development and bring it to the forefront. Microsoft got in off the death of Sega.
That's true. You
That's where
listen.
the void was.
You 100% right. And for those of you, since we live, for those of you guys,
hello.
just checking in.
How we do,
King David was giving us a history lesson on how Sony accidentally stumbled into the gaming arena, and that
accidentally became champion.
Okay,
they didn't let it go. They didn't let it go because Nintendo continued to flub and make a mistake off of the hubris when they came out with the GameCube and didn't put out a disc that was big enough to hold data.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Sony continued to control that narrative.
Yeah.
Microsoft was fumbling around trying to find a way in this arena. All right. They didn't find their way into the arena, to the big stage until 360, to be honest with you. Right. And at the 360, they got their lead jump on the PlayStation 2. It was like, yo, we're going to be in it to win it. And, the PlayStation 3. And
Sony dropped the ball too. So he dropped the ball.
Yeah, in between there. And they proceeded to get their ground there, right? So they never really become actual champions. They were contending for the championship. They never really ripped it from PlayStation because PlayStation was reeling with the PlayStation 3 with their $600 box, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of Microsoft's what Sony is doing now. They were winning with the 360, and they started taking their toys and started, let's get ready for later. You know, we beat these dudes. They're nothing. We don't have to stand up to do this. And that's not how you do it. You know that. And when I'm telling people, watch Sony's steps now, because it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary that you don't go to the biggest trade shows.
We'll get into that in a little bit.
I'm sorry. I didn't even know the topic. My bad. I do apologize. Let us go do our thing.
Hey, you know when me and David get in our conversations, man, it's gonna go on for a minute.
No, I know.
Yeah, we get lost.
The good about that, it's like a phone call.
Yeah, exactly.
y'all in on the phone call right now.
Exactly. hey, that's history lesson 101, man. When you got old heads that was there from the beginning, this is what you get.
Yeah.
Hey, I was there. I remember Sony 1995 E3. They came out and said $299. Dude walked off the stage. And that was a death blow to Sega because Sega had just dropped Saturn. And Sega came out that year and didn't even tell retailers. Nobody knew that the Saturn was out in the wild. They're like, "Oh yeah, it's already on retail shelves."
Yeah, they said it's dropping. They said it's dropping today.
Yeah.
Yo, you know the craziest thing? I was on my way to Great Adventures, right, with my girlfriend at the time, and we're driving past, and I look and I see a sign at Toys R Us that says "Saturn here now." I say, yo, pull this damn car over. Make the U-turn right now. We on the highway. Make the U-turn right now. Ran aside, saw it in there. Gimme. That's where the money went for Great Adventures right there. It was gone. Bye. Gimme.
Yeah.
She was pissed off. I don't really give a damn.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn.
He said, I need that.
And like, I ain't got it. Where you going to Adventure World where it was?
Well, what Sega did was, because they want to just jump out in the bushes, they gave me an argument. You know, they messed up my stuff too.
That's funny. All right, well, we're live. Hey, everyone, welcome to another episode of Basement Radio Arcade, aka BRAP, and special holiday edition going live early at 7 p.m. And we have a great panel this evening. We have two great guests. Actually, the first time you guys have been, I think, on BRAP together, if I'm not mistaken. We have Lord King from the Iron Lords podcast. Lord King, man, always a pleasure to have you on BRAP, man. Love the t-shirt, man. Love the t-shirt.
Yo, what's going on in the background? You keep hearing? Is that 14?
That's 14. I'm gonna mute him real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, he's yelling out, "Pika Pika, boy, it's out of control."
Yeah, he was yelling out "boy" for a little bit. I don't know what's going on with that, but anyhow,
because he liking that beard I got on. He like, boy, hey.
I was actually talking to a customer in the store. Their kid was in here. I kept calling him boy. I thought I was muted. I guess not.
Oh no!
Okay.
Out of control.
Yo, Forte getting ready for that Black Friday mob.
Yeah, right.
Pika Pika.
Lord.
Yeah, man. Yo, listen. That looks beautiful. That looks beautiful.
I know, don't it?
Hey, that's what's up.
I just saw that hat too, and I was looking at the downward trend of GameStop at the moment when they turn it into a novelty act.
Hey. You see this wall?
Yeah.
Look at this wall.
Yeah.
All those collectibles on this wall.
That's
looks like Toys R Us over here.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it turned into. It's beautiful.
Trend change, right? You walk in the store, everything up front used to be games, right?
Yep.
Now you walk in, all the games in the back.
Exactly.
Well, the games are in the front now. They flipped it.
They flipped it. They flipped it
on.
Collectibles used to be in the front of the store. Now PlayStation leads the store now.
Oh.
As it should be this generation.
Woo! I hear that. That sounds sweet. your teeth rattling and chattering. The next generation gonna be a free game, baby.
Hey, I'm an Xbox guy. I hope they do better.
Hey, Lord, hey, kid,
listen.
What did Phil do? You said this on Outfield Sunday. What Phil did this? What was it that you
Phil
said?
did this. You know who did this for you. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. You know, it takes a team. I don't want to give credit and I don't want to give fault to one person, but on every football team, and I equate our companies as football teams, right? Yeah. Because the fan base is ravaged like that. You know, I see basketball teams, it's kind of different. You know, you can't go into a football stadium and really rock that jersey in the crowd. You might end up missing. But I equate it to that. And anytime your football team, your head coach, your quarterback, your face of your team, y'all win, he gets the praise. Y'all lose, he gets the fault. It doesn't matter if it's the defense or the offense. It don't matter. Mm-hmm. So, you know, right now, Phil is our Tom Brady. And he's going in. He got to prove that he's the greatest. He got to prove that he could take that belt off these dudes. He got to prove it. But he's showing that he's not going to try to make the same mistakes. He's a very good strategist. And I saw it very early on where he wasn't working with the purse strings. He wasn't working with the bank. He had actually somebody working against him and hampering his wallet and able to purchase and do things. Now that the other person, see, this is what happens when a head coach and the quarterback is in line. They can run a team efficiently. General management, everybody is running in line in unison. You get a good chemistry going. When you have the top not supporting the bottom, it's not going to work. Yeah. So
it's like
they support the bottom. Yeah. Yes, they support now. So it's good to see the support because I don't want it to turn into a situation where we lose because they did, and I keep saying we, right? Because I love the underdog. I love an underdog. I am sorry. I was a TurboGrafx fan. I love an underdog.
Facts.
And
Speak.
Bonk's Adventure?
yeah, man.
Keith
Bonk's
Courage.
Adventure. Yes, Keith Courage.
Yeah.
And Legendary Acts and all those
Facts.
games, you know,
Firehouse.
Ease 1 and 2. When a underdog actually pulls it off, when Buster Douglas actually knocks out Mike Tyson, you feel something.
Yeah.
It changes. You feel good. I don't know. That's just me. Microsoft is the underdog. Don't get it wrong. They're never the champion in my eyes as far as winning. But with this guy, with Phil, I see his vision, and I've always seen his vision. Nobody's perfect, but he's not the worst we have.
I'm gonna tell you why. I agree with you wholeheartedly, but the only reason the masses don't see it that way is because it's actually reversed, right? You got a company, a company in Sony. A couple of years ago, they was finna go out of business. They was bleeding. They were in the red. You know what I'm saying? They were selling buildings. They were doing everything they can to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
So for them to invest pretty much every dime that they had in the whole company into the PlayStation division and pumping out their studios, pumping out games, investing in VR and stuff when they really didn't have the money to do that. This was a do or die situation. This was that Hail Mary pass that Sony did. If this stuff would have failed, Sony would be no more. But they took that risk and it paid off for them. And we got to give them credit for that. Now, here's the thing, right? Microsoft is like number 2 at one point in time this year, number 2 richest company in the world. Yeah. There should be no shortage. Now, I get it. They got different divisions and stuff like that. But people mindset is you're the richest. You should be easily able to just go and buy up a bunch of stuff and just get this stuff going. But people don't realize Xbox division is a total separate branch from Microsoft Corporation and this and that and all kind of stuff. So we get that, but this is why people don't see the whole David versus Goliath view from Microsoft standpoint, because they have the money. This is something that they should have been doing, but we all understand why it wasn't done, right? Phil was, he didn't have the money. Terry Morrison was going against him, all kind of stuff in the back realm.
That was in the beginning, but also everybody don't sweep past. That's the meme I gave you. Who did it for you? Who put y'all in that position where y'all was on life support, and he came in with a Medi pack and got y'all ready and gave you $5 and sent you out the door, and y'all turned that $5 into $1 billion. That was the Don. Mm-hmm. Then when the Don walked up to the table and said, we got a system for you.
Hey, wait. But was he think about it though, looking back, right?
No, he wasn't wrong.
The guy wasn't wrong, because technically you fast forward a couple of years.
The same thing.
It's all how you say it to people though.
Exactly. Now I get it, right? It's just like when the guy at Sony last generation came out saying, you got to go out and get a second job for this system.
Right.
The hell I will. I'm not kidding this. It's about how you say things.
I was one of them out of spite. I was like, man, keep your system.
Exactly. You can't go tell people that's already struggling to buy a $600 system to go get a second job. Man, come on.
Thank you.
He was right in what he said about if you live on a ship or something like that, we have a system for you. It was nothing wrong with the statement, but the statement was said at the wrong time amongst everything else that Microsoft did at that press conference. And the biggest thing is, when I look at that situation from afar, Sony, like you said, they threw everything in the ring. They was like, we got this Hail Mary pass. This is what we have to do. And no one would really know if Microsoft would have came correctly and not had the whole DRM and all this other crazy stuff, where the duration would have played out, because we don't know.
They all had DRM though.
Yeah, they all had it. And then I mean, there's a reason it's a light bar on the PlayStation 4 controller. It's the reason all that stuff was built in it. Microsoft literally shot themselves in the foot, and Sony said, "Yep, we're just going to come up behind you and change all this stuff."
Look, listen, Sony is a savage. Y'all remember they showed that little video right at E3 with Yoshida passing the game. Said this is how we share games, and they passed the game. That was the death blow right there. That was it.
And everyone.
That's how
nobody will
become.
Exactly.
That's how you become that opportunist, that accident champion, because
all is fair in love and war, baby.
I'm not listen. Yeah. If that's my company, I want my company to do that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. They knew what they had in the bank, what they were cooking up. They see the games, they walk past it, and all they saying is just give me some time.
Yeah.
Give me some time.
Phil just did that. He just did that exact same thing. When Sony announced that they weren't going to E3, Microsoft came out quickly on Twitter. Hey, we gonna be there. We gonna be. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. You gotta. That's that cutthroat fight that we gotta see. Microsoft. We gotta see them get dirty. They've been too clean trying to appease everybody, and they got to get dirty. They got to say, look, man, this is war, and it is what it is. The nice guy never gets the chick.
Kratos, let me before take time in real quick.
Oh no, good. No,
go ahead.
I was just saying the biggest thing that a lot of people don't realize, like when it comes to Phil Spencer, people want to give him a lot of heat. But what has that man not said that has come to fruition as of yet? He talked about making the services better on the system. We got all of these different services, like him or love them or hate them, they are there. He fixed basically that side. He said we're going to fix the system. That's how we got the Xbox One X. The last thing on that list was the games. Now we know the games take the longest because it's 3-4 years, up to 5 years for those games to release. You know, the fact that these studios have been purchased and all these different wheels have been set into motion, you know, everybody is basically in a holding pattern when it comes to the system. But ultimately, I just think Microsoft just needs to, at this point, just shut up and just put their heads down and do what they need to do for their fan base. They know what their fans want at this point, and don't worry about what Sony's doing. You know, Sony can do whatever. Right now, they can do no wrong in most people's eyes. You know, they have the number one selling system in the world. And right now, if you were to take a poll of everybody in the community, most people are going to side and say, I'm going to get a PS5 before I get an Xbox because Xbox hasn't proven anything to them. And one thing that another part that people don't really realize is when it came to last generation, I see more people with Xboxes that have PS4s, but I don't see the flip side of that when it comes to PlayStation people owning Xboxes. That's the main reason why it's such a disparity in systems being sold between both platforms, because I can tell you right now, I didn't own four PS4s at this point. I had 2 base ones, a Pro and a Slim. Yeah. How many people that talk on PlayStation don't have Xboxes? You know, they say I'm never going to buy an Xbox, but those people last generation had 360s. Some of them started with 360.
Forte, let me give you what Mindshare does to people. All right, we are tribal in nature. Yeah. All right, so when you're broke, right, and you have to make a choice, and your choice has to count for something, you're going to bet on a winning horse.
Yeah, you right about that.
Nobody wants to bet on a pony in a horse race. Right? So when you're looking and you're seeing everybody got a PlayStation and your friends got a PlayStation, and I don't care if you like Halo, you're not trying to go out and make new friends. A lot of times people are comfortable with who they with, even if those people don't like them.
Facts.
Yeah. I've seen people hang around people that get snapped on and cursed at all day. And why do you keep showing up here, man? Yeah. Because you're my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah. I agree.
But so that tribalism is getting that PlayStation sold. But I said this to say this part about the whole Phil and this generation. You said that they should just, put their head down. Don't worry about what Sony is doing. I don't ever believe Microsoft is ever thinking about Sony, to be honest with you. And I'm saying this only to say they're not purchasing these gaming divisions to go against Sony.
That's true.
Sony has 3 top-notch gaming divisions. Top-notch. Probably the best in the world. 3. Mm-hmm. So if you was really,
I think 10, but okay, we'll go with you.
No, but I'm talking about that top notch.
Yeah. I get it.
I'm talking about those 3 top notch. They putting out those games. You're there.
Yeah.
Right.
No
I'm just saying. Right. Microsoft sees, and we're not in the know.
Mhm.
We think we are. We don't. We don't see Google stuff. We don't see Amazon stuff. But these dudes do. And the way that they're gearing up is they're gearing up for a war on a scale with streaming, with games, with digital, with play your games anywhere. Get this PC because we need that community. PlayStation ain't worried about the PC. So why are you worried about the PC? Because that's not their target.
Mhm.
Their target is to push back the onslaught that is going to come from Google. And I'm telling you this, Google is real.
Oh, yeah.
That onslaught from Amazon, because my kids have Amazon Fire, to push back from NVIDIA in case NVIDIA makes that push past Nintendo.
Mhm.
Right now, soon is going to be Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo is going to have to band up against the onslaught of the new guys.
Yeah.
That's the fight.
I agree, but
It's an interesting point, yeah.
yeah. Here's the thing with that though. If I'm a betting man against all these companies and they all in war, I'm gonna put my money, and unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say this, but I will put my money on Nintendo, and I'll tell you why. They have a 35-year history of going against the titans of the industry in every single facet, whether it's consoles, whether it's handhelds, whether it's whatever. They have, you can't discredit them. Now, yes, today in their fashion, what they're in the mobile market, the Switch, and whether you like it or not, they're there and they're selling and they're hot right now. But that's Nintendo. They've survived Sega, Atari, Turbo Graphics. I mean, a whole onslaught. 3DO, Panasonic, Coleco, everybody. They've went through the fire, and so we can't dismiss them.
No.
Now I did notice. I mean, we noticed this generation. Well, even a couple of generations ago, Nintendo said, "Look, a new war is coming, and it's for the upper echelon of gaming and technology." And you got to realize Nintendo only makes their money on video games. They don't have another business out there that's making them a lot of money. Sony got movies. Sony got, audio players, Blu-ray. They got all kind of other facets where income can come, right? Microsoft, I mean, enough said. All you just got to do is say Microsoft. You know what they're about. Nintendo is this small little company that has been able to survive the big titans of the industry for so long. So I wouldn't discount them just yet, but I can say if it came all in war, my money would be on them because they have the history behind it.
Interesting. Gentlemen, I want to get to the first topic because I think a great conversation, by the way. But I do want to get to, because we're talking about Sony and Microsoft, I do want to get to Sony skipping E3 2019, which I think caught everyone by surprise. I mean, like I was like, I heard in years.
Not me.
Big shout out to Mr. Negative, who was co-hosting with Greg Miller, and Kind of Funny when the news dropped, and I was surprised. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, they're not going to be at E3 2019. I didn't think this was like real, and I'm trying to process this in my mind, and I still can't understand, I still don't understand why they're not going to be there. Other than I get they probably don't have anything to show, and they're probably focusing on the PS5. there's a rumor that there's going to be an event February 22nd, and apparently that could be the reveal of the PS5. But I don't know, and I'm not going to say that this is a mistake for them or it's going to backfire. I think it could go either way. I think this could be a move that doesn't really impact them, or maybe this is something we look back and we're like, oh, this is when Sony fell off the horse. We don't know. I think it's too early to tell, and I don't know. We're not privy to the board meetings and discussions and the reasons why they're doing this, but we can still offer our opinions as to why they're doing this. So, Lord King, I want to go with you because you had a very enthusiastic response. Dude, I loved it, by the way. I love the passion. So I want to go with you.
You all right, man?
What's that?
Voice is botting. You all right?
Who, me?
It's like you cracking up.
Your voice is
like literal, like real life body.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. I got like a cold, man.
Oh,
so
okay. we kind of tell you under the weather.
Yeah, I'm under the weather, so I'm going to try to like let you guys do majority of the talking here.
He's a soldier.
So I see you got your guy in the chat says Sony skipping E3 because Microsoft is not competitive. Throw yourself in the bushes. Right? I'm gonna tell you to throw yourself in the bushes, right. And I'm gonna give you this sauce for real, because I marinated this sauce especially for you. You know, you want to believe that, and you know that's what I call when somebody says a comment like that. That's whistling past your grave. That means they're about to dump you right in the gravesite. Listen, you have to understand. They know they have no games to show of note other than Ghost of Tsushima, Throat Baby, and
Throat Baby.
Hey, listen, man. When dudes saw Throat Baby, that's the name of the game, and that's exactly what we talk about. Death Stranding.
Throat Baby.
Throat Baby. So, you know, they have, you know, and The Last of Us, right? They have those games. Listen, right? Taking nothing away from those games. How many times are you gonna show them though? Okay, right? Before it starts to lose its
yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Now I was at E3. I spoke personally to Mikey Barrow. I spoke personally to Phil Spencer. They both told me on separate occasions, separate from one another, not in the same room with each other. Both told me, "Don't miss next year. It's going to be epic."
Yeah, I remember you saying
they
that.
Both used that word epic. All right, so I'm sitting there, I'm talking to Tim Dog. I'm like, oh, epic. What they gonna purchase epic? Like, and I'm sitting like, because they see our reaction at this show. We're at fans. We're at the night before. We see the setup. We see everything. We're at the stage. We're schmoozing with everybody. And I'm not name dropping just to name drop. I'm not the game. All right. I'm just telling you where I'm at to give you the insight on what I see on the inside so I can explain it to you and why you say, King, why you got this belief in this nature, right? When they said they're not going to be at E3, I'm not the only person that knows what Microsoft has coming. I'm pretty sure that they have their spies. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure that they understand exactly what was going on. They got trounced this E3. Okay, don't sit there and tell me that they didn't get trounced, because they got trounced this E3. Microsoft had the best show that they had in years. Years. Phil walked out with a swagger that was incredible. Now, if he's telling me that his next show is going to be epic, leaps and bounds above this show, then Sony must got to come with that fire. They must got to come with that heat. What's the best way not to lose a fight? Don't put up your hands. Walk out the door. Mm-hmm. They're not showing up. It's because they don't want to fight. That's it. There's no comparison to the situation if there's nothing to compare it to. So you can't say Sony lost anything. So in that manner, and this is where strategy is key. This is when your boss understands, I'm not going to put you in line to get beat up and take negative press for no reason. We won't show. What's a bigger headline when you allow somebody else to speculate about something? Sony's not going to be there. And somebody else in the chat says, well, they're not going to show because Microsoft is no competition. You see? So instead of taking a loss, you can wait a 50-50 margin.
Yep.
So the smartest narrative in the world, and the genius lies the simplicity in saying that I'm not going to show up, in knowing what those dudes are going to do. And we don't have enough to measure up at this point in time. Let's shore up our resources. Let's get to a point when we come is like, bam, we hit, told you we didn't need that show. What makes a bigger impact?
And they're the focal point if they come down later on the road after E3 and drop PS5 now.
Yep.
You know, as opposed to, like you said, going to E3, they can't show the same stuff. They just can't. And if they do, I agree with this that they do. They're not going to have a good show because they've already they've shown their cards, they've shown their hand already. So
yeah, that's kind of what I said. Like I know, when it comes to Sony, a lot of times you look at their shows, it's about entertainment value. That's the one thing that they do know as a company. They know entertainment, how to put on a show, right? If they did that show that they did at this E3, which we all kind of scratched our heads on, but if that show were the show prior, like in E3 2017, we wouldn't have been saying that. But the thing is, when we got to 2018, we had already kind of seen those games and it's kind of drawn out. We're like, that was weird, right? But for entertainment value, building the venue, doing what they were doing, Flute Man, the whole nine, you say what you want, but it would have been it was a spectacle of a show. That's what they kind of do. So think about bucking convention and not going to E3. I know some people are looking at it like, well, they're running scared, or some people are looking at it like they don't have anything to show. Yeah, don't show up and talk about PS4 when you've already said a few months prior that you're downtrending on PS4.
Yeah.
And we all kind of know PS5 is on the horizon, and they're going into the year of 25th anniversary.
Facts.
That's a good point. Yeah. And they're gonna control the narrative, Eric. I mean, like everyone I've heard everyone say, well, why would you go to E3? All eyes are on the industry during that time period. That time period. I'm like, it's true, but anything PS5 related, it's still going to attract and garner a lot of media attention because it's Sony. I mean, Sony in some ways is like the Apple of the gaming industry. It's
already controlling the narrative if you kind of look at it. And let me get this out of the way first and say, for anybody out there saying like E3 is irrelevant, you need to stop that. E3 is not irrelevant. E3 is just not. E3 is just not. In a world of 24-hour news cycle, social media, direct talk to your bases, E3 isn't the whole of what it needs to be to keep all that together.
But he's
Eric, it's funny? E3 is not relevant to them because Sony's not there.
we were already talking about that type before we went live. We know there's a certain type that thinks a certain way, right?
That is true.
You know what I'm saying? But for anybody who knows, we can all sit here and say, no, E3 is not irrelevant. It is still like the biggest. It is still like one of the biggest shows on earth. But it's still at that. If you kind of look at the trend, it's becoming more like Comic-Con as opposed to the industry trade show.
Yeah, man, I hate it.
Hey, real quick, I want to ask King. I want to ask you something here because you mentioned that Ibarra said next year is going to be epic. If it's not epic for Microsoft next year, my concern is you're going to hear the narrative of, damn, E3 sucks without Sony. I mean, so there's got to be a tremendous amount of pressure.
Yeah. You know what you mentioned? I want to say this before. I don't want to cut anybody off, but I want to say this. It is. You can't say that thing that Microsoft has the stage to themselves, right?
Well, they do.
That's a big damn stage with one microphone. All I need is one mic.
Facts.
They don't have it though today, though.
Well, I mean, they'll share it with Nintendo, but you kind of know how that goes. Nintendo's gonna do their own thing, like with the Direct.
Not even Nintendo, Eric. Think about it. Nintendo pulled themselves out of that crap a long time ago.
Yeah. They've been doing their Direct. They bucked the trend a long time ago, and it's been working for them. So when Phil and Mike told you last year, it's going to be epic. Do you think at this point they're kind of looking at pivoting a bit? Like, we had that whole thing kind of, all eyes are on us. They're already under a microscope on the daily.
Yeah.
Like any movie they make is under more scrutiny than anybody else. Right?
Eric, these shows is planned out months in advance.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Half a year in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So from one E3 to the next, they already know what they're gonna do. They're just trying to set the pacing of the show and what games and what companies are gonna be on board and what are we trying to do to fill this gap and doing it. They're working on timeline and stuff like that, right? So they already know that they're gonna release X amount of system or whatever. Right? So when he can say that it's gonna be epic and he says, yo, you think you like this show? It was no hardware at this show. Mm-hmm. When people get up, they get up for hardware. That PlayStation 5 They want to hear about the 5. They want to hear about the new Xbox. People brought a Switch. They walking out the store with the Switch in their hand, talking about. Could you imagine what the Pro Switch would be like?
Don't even open the box right now.
Exactly.
Right.
So, from that standpoint, it's gonna be epic in a sense that they showed a lot of games this year. And for anybody that says Microsoft doesn't show games, they don't show games for you. And maybe you live in a bubble, all right? But they show games for the world. Minecraft isn't for me, but Minecraft is the leading game sold and played across the world. But it's not for me.
That's true.
You're talking about.
Can I say something real quick?
Go for it, man.
All right. So listen, you're right. I agree with you. Here's the thing, right? Sony not going to E3 that's an L. I would like them to show up, and I think all Sony fans would like them to show up. All Xbox guys would like them to show up. All Nintendo guys. If you don't show up, that there's something missing there. And I tell you what, because they're not showing up, they better make up for this shit like no other. If not,
Jay, that's what they doing, man.
If not, their next generation is going to be rocky, because now, instead of sitting at the top of the pile, now that transformation is going to, that momentum is going to switch from PlayStation over to Microsoft or Nintendo or whatever. You got to realize that they got the mind share right now, but this is a big gamble for them. Why are they doing it? It's all speculation. We know the PS5 is on the rise, but is this? I mean, I don't know, man. I'm iffy about it. I'm kind of worried about it, because if this does not play out the way that they imagined it, man, it's gonna be tough for them. It's really gonna be tough for them. But here's the thing: back on Microsoft, right? They got the stage to themselves. It's their game to lose. How can you lose something that the competitor don't even show up as? So they have to come out there and wow us. Now, here's the thing: they had a great E3 last year. I give them that. The problem of that is the mind share of people that left there. That event said, "Well, they showed nothing but games that I can play elsewhere." So, but Microsoft, I hate to say it, but E3 is coming up next year. I don't think with all these devs and these companies that they've bought, I don't think they're going to be ready to showcase what they're working on, because they're still in the acquisition stage. Some of the, most of these games, man, it takes 3 and 4 years, and it's just not enough time. I understand Gears is coming out next year. Will Gears alone be enough to silence the critic? Will it be enough to change the naysayers? We don't know. We hopefully so, but we know Halo Infinite is a ways off, because they only showed just a tech demo of the engine, an engine demo. It wasn't even the game.
Well, so, Kratos, didn't you tell me? Wasn't you the guy? You the guy that said, "Hey, man, take a still screenshot or something and put it together."
Yes.
They showed you an engine.
Yes. Listen, I am hyped for Halo Infinite. I am hyped. I'm not lying. But what I'm saying is, I know that game won't hit my box or won't be close to showing anything from gameplay for at least another 2 years. But we're talking about E3 2019.
Guys, because I'm gonna tell you why this show.
We're talking about E3 2019, right? Now, here's the thing. Let's say February comes around. Sony drops a little event showcasing the PS5, talk about the specs and stuff. Well, now everybody is all hyped for PlayStation 5. Now, we all know every time Xbox comes out with some good information, they show some stuff. The next day, Sony drops something, whether it's sales numbers, whether it's a new exclusive, whether it's a release date. They have
petty life.
Yes, they have control. They have been petty. They have controlled the whole narrative from day one. And whoever controls the narrative, man, they control the world. And so okay, let me pose this question. Microsoft just had XO18 a week ago?
Yep.
And folks are already talking about E3. So from the consensus was XO18 was not a good show. And that was their own event. So if they couldn't pull off their own own event properly? What makes us
Don't
think they
go
can
with
sit
that
on that
narrative.
stage by
Don't,
themselves on the
Kratos,
big
you're gonna
stage?
make me defend that narrative. Don't go and make me defend that narrative, Kratos.
Hey,
You know,
hey, they
I'm gonna
asked for it
take
in
the
the chat.
bait.
They asked
Listen,
me to do it in the
listen,
chat.
Man, but you,
listen. Unlike Sony, I'm sorry for a second, Forte, but I gotta rebut that right there, man. He knows
got
what
my
he just did
popcorn.
right there. He
Got my
knows what
popcorn.
he just did right there. I'm going to tell you right now, that was the greatest Inside Xbox you've ever gonna see. That was how the format of Inside Xbox needs to go, and it's supposed to highlight them showing fan fest in different spots. I would like for them to do once a month a different fan fest in a different space using the Inside Xbox as the platform. Now, that was a pure push on Game Pass. That's all. That was before this holiday. If you want to become a new Game Pass owner, it's $1 to get in, to get 200 games, and to get our first party exclusive. So, Kratos, you know, as a smart, thinking, intelligent man, that was not a show for anything other than to push Game Pass before Christmas.
Hey,
to get everybody to purchase, to get little Tommy to have 200 games for $1. Yeah. So don't ever change the narrative and make you think that was a setup for E3 or anything other than what it's going to accomplish. Because if you in this chat and you talking about Microsoft has no games, then you don't got $1 to go get 200 games.
I agree.
Hey, I had to do that. Sam Walton in the chat asked me to go ahead and go there.
Sam released the beast. You heard about me, Sam. I'm here. Let's go.
I want to go to Forte real quick. Forte.
No, he pretty much said what I was going to say. But the biggest thing is Microsoft is always coming out and leading E3 every year.
Yeah.
They don't know what nobody else is doing coming into it. They're the ones that pop it. They're the ones that pop it off every Sunday.
That's true.
Saying that they don't know what's going to happen or what they're doing or what they're going to show. They don't know what anybody else is going to show. All they got to do is go out there and just do them. And they've been doing really, like last year. I think they did really good. I think that was the best E3 they put on in a while. They just showed game after game after game, even though a lot of those games were third party. But guess what? 90% of the people that buy games buy third party games. So they basically live to their strengths. The one thing I always try to tell people is Sony is the type of company that works by their strength. That's why they show a lot of their first party. That's why they are really good with the single player narrative. They talk about their single player narrative. Microsoft is good at the multiplayer front. They got the most powerful console in the world right now. So they're going to showcase all that third party support in the best light that they can. So they're working to their strengths. And that's going to continue going forward until Microsoft starts proving that the first party can really put out the content. So you're going to see a lot of third party on their stage. And I don't think that's going to change in E3 next year.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
I know you say to yourself, man, why that dude done did that and then did that? He knew David was gonna come with that rebuttal.
Hey, when they asked me to bring some up, I got no choice but to do it.
I mean, you got to be the voice. You got to be the voice.
Hey, I got to represent it, man.
I feel it.
Now, let me ask you guys this one question. I get right. Microsoft, Sony only came out with like 4 games for E3. We get that, right? And just like Forte said, their strengths it lies in their first party games, and they showed you their first party game. These are their games. This is games where if you want to play them, you got to go spend $199 for a Slim or $399 for a Pro or however much it costs. You got to. So even if you hate Sony, now, right, and you see The Last of Us, or you see Death Stranding, or you see Days Gone, or you see Ghost of Tsushima, or you see Project Awakening, or you see Dreams, or you see Concrete Genie, or you see all kind of
nobody
other stuff.
Sees Dreams. Dreams is a dream.
Again, it goes back to this, right? This is still an exclusive that if you want to play it, you have to be into this. Now, we got games out there called Dream Daddy and all this Barbie stuff, right? But guess what? I think that's Sony's strength, right? They have a game for everybody, whether it's Knack, whether it's the mature The Last of Us, whether it's God of War, whether it's...
This is the bait show. You going for the bait. And I'm telling you, I'm here to get this bait that you about to toss. Forte, listen to what he about to say. What he's going to tell you is that Microsoft doesn't have. You can play their games on the PC. You could tell me, keep going. So I'm
technically right. Okay, I'm gonna continue, but technically, to be fair, and I'm not even gonna go that route, right? With the whole PC thing, if it's on Xbox and you can't play it on PlayStation, it's an exclusive. I'm gonna just go with that narrative, right? I'm gonna just say that, right? Because it's too fishy going with all that, whether it's PC or not, yada yada. Well, I don't even want to get into all that. But here's the thing: what games have Xbox showcased within the last 2 to 3 years that gave people the mind share that they needed to? That's the problem. Now Microsoft has come out with a lot of games. I'm not gonna lie, they came out with a lot of games, but a lot of these games are not lasting. They're low rated, and I get it. What's for me may not necessarily be for somebody else, and I get it. If you love State of Decay and Sea of Thieves and all them other games.
You keep running past Gears of War, which is the top rated.
Yeah, but Gears of War came out with like Janet Jackson. What have you done for me lately? Like we're not talking about
rated multiplayer game that's being played at this moment. It's still one of the top rated games.
But David, we got games every year, every month, every quarter coming out. I'm not talking about like games that I played back in 2016 and 2015. You don't get no credit for stuff that you already got credit for.
Kratos, how long was God of War in development?
But this is a question. This is a question though
for
you. What sold the PS5, the PS4 at the beginning of the generation? What was that signature title
let me tell you what sold people on the PS4 over the Xbox One. Number one had to do with price. Number two had to do with power to price ratio. That was the basic mind share there. Number two was the mindset that Sony has a pedigree and they have a history of games like God of War, games like Siphon Filter, and a bunch of the other games. Now you got to realize, right? We know day one that Microsoft came out with a ton of games, right? And PlayStation didn't come out with a ton of games. But here's the bad side of that argument. This is why I don't like using that argument from an Xbox standpoint. Because none of those games got sequel. None of those games were bought. So it don't matter if you have 200 games at launch, they did not work for you.
Yeah,
so
we're not worried about I'm not worried. I'm not even talking worried about what they brought out. My whole question is
they was dry. I'm not gonna lie.
I agree with you.
What game won NPD? What was the number one selling game on NPD this month? Last month in October.
Black Ops 3. 4.
What happened
prior to that? You had Spider-Man. Prior to that, and I mean we can keep going, but there's like three or four game of the year.
At the very beginning of the generation in 2013, 2014, what happened with Xbox that lost mind share for them? They lost.
They lost the Call of Duty. Whatchamacallit?
Yeah, but listen.
Much of the marketing. Wait. They lost so much of that marketing. And that is what they're trying to get back. They're trying to get that mind share back in that third party and let people know that everything plays best on X. You know, that's number one. Yeah, go ahead.
But let me ask you, that's a challenge for the next console gen. How do they get those people back? I mean,
that's the question. That's the big thing. How do you get those people? The way you get those people back is you continually beat that message down. This E3 will tell a lot. Sony won't be there, so so where are all these third-party developers going to show their game? Activision doesn't have a show at E3, so where is Activision going to show their game back this year? So we already know if we don't see Call of Duty at E3,
Forte.
Yeah,
Forte. Talk that talk, baby.
No, that's
Forte. Man, talk that talk, baby. Talk that talk, baby. Let school these brothers on where the exclusives are going to show their games at. The multi-plats and everybody. Listen. Forte he hit the nail on the head. Y'all are accident champions. I'm going to say it again because what you did and Kratos brought it out in the beginning. It was power and price, right?
Yep.
2 P's. The two P's made people purchase, right?
Yeah.
Because we decided to put the Kinect in the box and to allocate resources to something that people didn't want.
Yeah.
And you know what? You know what? PlayStation had a package. See, Microsoft always out there first. PlayStation had a package together that you was gonna have the camera and those little move sticks.
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it.
In the box.
And they yanked them out.
They took that crap out of you. Crazy? Take it out.
Exactly.
Listen. Take out that DRM. You see they getting murdered over there. They said DRM, they getting murdered. Take it out. That's why when you put your PlayStation on, it took you 24 hours to reset and reboot. You
remember? Hey, okay. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing with the whole multi-plat thing. You can't be the king of multiplats because, again, everybody gets that. That is nothing special about that. If I got a Nintendo Switch and I want to play Doom, I can play it on the Switch. I can play it on my PlayStation, or I can play on the PC, or I can play on the Xbox. You get no extra credit for FIFA. You get no extra credit for COD because, to be truthful, this whole generation, all of those multiplats have sold more on the PlayStation. So I don't like. Maybe this is what I want, right? And I'm gonna tell you, this is what I want. This is what I want, and maybe I'm just an old fogey like this. I want Microsoft to stand on their own production and not lean on games that everybody else is gonna play, because I'm not buying an Xbox to play Formula 1 2017. I'm not buying that to play 2K and Madden. That you're not selling me on a $500 console for Madden. You're not.
And by the way, evening, gentlemen. Sorry, I'm
late. The slow-mo, when you came in, I gave you the high five and you walked in the door, baby. What's going on?
What up, King, man?
What's going on?
Hey, slow-mo, they jumping me in here today, man. They jumping me. They beat my legs. They beat my legs today.
I'm jumping you.
Too.
Hey,
listen, I'm never jumping you. You set me up with a bait trap, and I just had to defend, Phil Spencer's honor.
Allow me to interject for a moment. Now, Kratos, I love you. I love you, brother. I sometimes I'm with you, and sometimes I'm not. Now, and I'm not gonna say I'm not with you this time, but let me say this about this topic, and I came in the middle of it, so we could have been talking about carousels that we got on Xbox versus PlayStation. You know how it is; it always come to this. But this is the whole so PlayStation, everything sells better on the PlayStation. Of course it does, because you got more than double of install base out there. So of course everything's going to sell better on that. Mm-hmm. I think what it really comes down to is that all of us gentlemen in here, and the people who are watching now on in live, we're gonna buy everything, because we hardcore gamers. We can't help ourselves. Even though we may love PlayStation, we may love Xbox, we still will buy the other one just because we gamers, and that's what we do. Right. The casuals, this next console generation will be won or lost within the first 2 years. It's going to happen every single time, and it's all about how it begins in the very, very beginning. When you capture the casual audience, they're fickle. They may be riding and dying with PlayStation now. They might ride or die with Xbox the next gen. It all really depends on how it's marketed to them and what they know. How many casuals actually think that Black Ops or Call of Duty, any of those games only come on PlayStation? Just because they see the commercial.
Casuals. Stop.
Hey man, look! They don't pay attention like we do. They don't pay attention like
a nice car. That's what you trying to say. Who got the best car with the flashy rims?
They will go like that chick on your arm. You be like, yeah, I got a bad one. But as soon as that dude roll by with the as soon as that Kratos roll by with the drop top, she gone. You know what I'm saying? So look. What it really comes down to, Xbox has an opportunity at E3. I'm not saying they're going to do something, but they have an opportunity. Sony has bowed out. We're not going to do E3. We're going to do our thing later on. We're going to show you what we got later on. That's giving Microsoft a little bit of opportunity to say, let's show you what we have. I hope Microsoft goes all out. I hope they don't pull out an XO on me. Because I want to see everything. I want to see at least.
Stop with that, XO. I'm gonna keep on shooting y'all every time y'all do that.
David was bending the knee on that. He was
hold up, man. You can't do your own event and then not show one single new first party IP. I'm gonna call that an L every time.
Whoa, time out.
Wait, okay. Before you go on Slimmo, I do want to say something. And my disappointment with XO is because of the expectation of previous XOs. And if you go back and look at previous XOs, they were on point. I mean, you had new game announcements, Splinter Cell, Rare was announced there. I mean, XO was like an E3 almost. Yes,
those were the good old days, though.
Yeah, we were missing that. We were missing the new IP drops. You know, that's what we were missing.
That's when the news was different, Brad. That's when the news cycle is different. The news cycle is instantaneous at this point. It's at a point right now where I tweet out something and Erica hit me like, I just saw that a minute ago. And Kratos would be like, word, and retweet that. Yeah. And it got around the globe a couple of million times just off the fact that information is so instantaneous. That's
very true. That's very true, King. I agree. 1,000%.
But you're saying those XOs from the past was so much more better, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe. All right. Maybe it's all subjective, and it could be facts. They were announcing 2 new studios. That was the biggest thing that they wanted to say.
Yeah.
They wanted to push that Game Pass down your throat.
Yeah.
They wanted to give you some Minecraft new information for those DLCs for those millions of purchasers to go out there and get the pandas versus tigers, which was horrible for me.
Yeah,
but for those, you said what?
Crazy Larry.
Yeah, Crazy Larry.
Oh, I like Larry.
He's the only guy I know that would defend Larry.
Yeah, man.
Yo, listen. When I do my King and Statue show, I got an homage to Larry in it. And you're going to see it, and you're going to wet yourself off of the fact that King is really retarded. I know you're not supposed to say the retard word, but he's really retarded, and he's putting on the gloves for Larry. I'm doing it out of respect for the love of Larry.
Hey, we all respect love with Larry. Yeah. When there come a time that your uncle need to go in the back and barbecue.
They're gonna put him out. You see them trying to put him in the pasture now.
It's happening. It's happening, bro.
Before we, Enrique, before you go too far, I just like the point I was trying to make before we got a little bit off topic was, I think it can be won by Microsoft all in the very, very beginning of next gen. If you get the casuals on your side, they'll ride with you from then forward. But to get the narrative off of Sony, I mean, Sony is. I mean, let's think about this for a second. They've only lost 1 gen since they've been in this game. They've only lost 1 gen. So, like, this is to Nintendo, so it's like
you still wait. You lost 1 gen to Nintendo. What was the gen that they lost to Microsoft? Don't sidestep.
Wait. Hold on.
I'm not sidestepping that. I'm not one of them people to be like, hey, look, PS3 came back. Like PS3 came back. Let's be real with it. PS3 surpassed 360 after 360 stopped. That's like you and me running a race, and then I beat you, so I slow down and I like start walking, and you run past me.
You
like,
I beat you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I run past you.
Exactly. That's not really a win-win.
So then they lost beat everybody, right?
It's still 1 gen though. It's still 1 gen, so it's still.
Man, I can't give a system a win that literally stopped selling games in the last 4 years of their gen.
Yeah, but you know what? PlayStation is a global brand.
And that's the reason
let's face it, Xbox is pretty much only in America. I mean, that's its home turf.
Yeah,
in this generation, it has been losing its home turf, let alone the world. So when we count NPDs, right? That's only in the US. But when you look at worldwide, you see those numbers. It's not even and I don't think there would ever be a generation where Xbox will be able to surpass a PlayStation in the whole, because
this generation coming.
Well, you think so?
You know why? You know why I'm gonna tell you this generation coming?
Because they focusing on the 2 billion people with the mobile and all that stuff?
No. Not even none of that. Something very simple. Very simple. The reason why PlayStation won this generation, price, right, and power, right?
Yeah.
Price and power. That cannot be understated. Digital Foundry.
But that was the first. That was the first 2 years. That was
right.
the first 2. After that,
once
Sony games kick in, it's over. It's over.
Kratos,
it's a runaway train.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you this.
Once you compare game to game, it's over. Like don't like.
Yes,
so I get.
They're gonna have games. They're gonna have games.
But once but let's just say, once their games start kicking in, let's to say that Microsoft hasn't started to prove themselves with those first party studios.
We hope so. We hope so. We pray so. We pray that those games, those studios make great games. We hope so.
If they get a system for $200 stream box, right?
Yeah.
That can stream all their games in 1080p 60 frames per second, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying 1080p 60 frames. I didn't say 4K. I didn't get crazy on you. I said 1080p 60 frames per second, $200, $150 box, whatever. Simple impulse buy.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me that that's not going to do numbers? Now, we're going to talk about install base, right? And I'm betting on that stream box to reach places that Microsoft reach at this point is stagnated. For them to ship, remember, Sony shipped in 35 regions when they launched the PlayStation 4. Microsoft shipped to 10.
Yep, that's very true.
You got to understand, if they can get that stream box to ship in 35 to 50 regions simultaneously and get them into storefronts, that's markets that they can control. They're trying to further their reach. So, in doing that, not talking about the $500 or $400 box that's going to be more powerful than that PlayStation, because PlayStation's forcing you, they're doing a Connect. They're putting that VR in the box. That's going to take from something.
Listen, that's a narrative that was misunderstood. What they're saying, what Sony with these rumors of the PS5 is, if you have a system that's powerful enough, you don't need that little box, the connector box for that.
That's not what I'm talking about.
There's no CPU in there, right? So you're just using the regular power of the system, and that's it. And that's going to control your VR. I see a lot of people saying, well, they're going to take the VR and stick it in the box. And trust me, they're never going to. Sony ain't that stupid to bundle a VR in a box.
That's not what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. No. On a silicon base, right? All the way down to a silicon, it's going to be a chipset that is built onto the silicon of the system.
Okay.
That is going because this PlayStation 4 is not built for VR.
That's
VR is something that came after.
Yeah.
But this PlayStation 5 from the ground up is going to incorporate that aspect so that you don't need that other stuff. All that stuff from fundamentally going in, building it, it's going to have it at a fundamental base. That's going to take away from something other than. That's what I'm talking about.
So you but here's the thing, right?
I'm willing to bet you a game.
Okay. See, here's the thing, right? Yes. I have
fundamentally on a silicon base, it's going to be built into the system.
Okay, so just like when the X came out, right? It had the vapor chamber cooling. The DX12 was built on the silicon and all this tech stuff, right? Transparent to the people. It don't matter what they add in that box. At the end of the day, the games is what sell the console. You can give a person a $99. Why don't they just make the Xbox One S $99 and just give it away? Shit, make it $50. make it $50. Take the 4K Blu-ray player out, right? And just sell it in all the markets. You might as well do that.
Yo, he tried to kill me. He tried to kill me. Kratos tried to kill me.
I'm just saying, you might as well do that, because at the end of the day, right? I don't think it's them not being in those markets that's causing the issue they have. They have a software issue that they have been trying to solve with hardware. That has been their fundamental, half of this generation, that has been their tactic. Well, look, we need big blockbuster games that rate well and people enjoy. Well, guess what? Here's the Xbox One S. It has a 4K Blu-ray player. Take that. Okay, I'll take it. But guess what? I still want the big blockbuster games that showcase the hardware. Well, guess what? Here's the Xbox One X, 4K, 60 uncompromised. Here you go. Take that. Okay, I'll take that. But guess what? I still want my AAA big blockbuster exclusive to take advantage of this hardware and showcase it. Now, when you pop in a disc like God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, you know, Spider-Man, and you play that on the Slim or the Pro, you're gonna say, "Oh my God, this is why I spent my money. This is a showcase for what this weak 4.2 T-Flops can do
right now." Kratos,
hey, I'm just trying to sell y'all on the Pro.
Kratos,
hey, man,
I
know a lot of people that bought Xbox One X's and bought Red Dead Redemption. It was like, this is why I bought this system.
Yeah, but you listen, that one multiplayer game, right? But here's the thing: you have a 36 to 40 million install base. That's not going anywhere. Those are diehard Xbox guys. How does Microsoft expand that base past the 36 to 40 million? How do you do that?
Dude,
a streaming box is not going to do that. You got to
Kratos, you got to stop, man. All those games.
10 years ago, we
those games, David, the games that you talk I'm gonna just keep it real with you, Chief. Nobody cares for those games.
Yo,
people are talking about Spider-Man.
You gotta sit there. Listen, okay, Kratos, I want you to stop right now. I want you to stop. Because right now you're on a PlayStation high and you are flying through the roof. And I'm gonna have to grab you by your ankles and yank you back down to the ground.
Right now.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, Kratos, in your PlayStation 3 years, you was humbug and quiet. Now you gotta understand this. Y'all took your lumps in that PlayStation 3. Right?
Yeah.
And at the end, y'all got on that roll. Y'all got the Last of Us, right? and y'all said, yo, listen, y'all had games in the pipeline. These are the games that was in the pipeline. Them Guys of Wars and them stuff. Yeah. Man, just give us a second. Let's get our strength together. I'm telling you, I promise. Microsoft is in the same promise phase.
I agree.
So stop it, man.
Listen, I agree with you.
Let them get to next generation, and they're gonna do just like you did.
Okay. Listen, I'll give you that, right? I'll give you that, David. I agree. Next generation, it starts over, right? It's a do-over. All is forgotten at the beginning of a generation, because all the companies have to do is come out and show some great games, and the gamers will show up. Now, here's the thing, right? You know, Sony got the sequels to the God of War, the Spider-Mans, and Horizon Zero, and all the games that people kind of gawked about this generation. They got sequels on there. But then they also have VR on top of that, right? Which you might not care for VR, but there's a lot of people that I know. I'm just saying, like, that is another thing to, like, if you say, look, man, Sony's not really giving me the games I want right now. I'm playing games over here on VR. It's just another avenue for people who care for it, right? And then they got, you know, the exclusive, the indies that they never forgot about, which is one thing that Microsoft need to start back and pick up on. They gave that away, where Sony didn't really care about indies.
Well,
last generation, Microsoft was on the arcade, the live arcade. They was on it with the indies. They forgot about it this generation. Sony picked it up and they ran with it.
Well, Kratos, Microsoft's done a lot better job with the indies now. I mean, they're getting back to that point now. I think where they were 3
Yeah, because see, those indies tied you over into the big stuff. Come, you got you. There's not going to be an exclusive, a big blockbuster.
Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah. They kind of made that. Microsoft made that, but they've kind of forgot about it.
Knows, Eric knows, Forte knows, Slow Mo knows that all that stuff was thrown in the bushes because of the user face and the fact that Game Pass was in the making.
Yeah. So
you can't have Xbox Live Arcade and Game Pass exist in the same ecosystem.
Yeah.
You must destroy one or the other.
When I turn on my Xbox, I never see those things showcased. And that's the thing about it, right? I'm getting emails, and when I turn on my PlayStation in the dashboard, they always showing me something about some kind of game, regardless. If I go to that store, it's indie games, it's VR, it's all this stuff posted everywhere. So you try to look for the new games, it's going to be there. With Xbox, not necessarily.
Or do you want me to just sit there and hold this? Do you want me to attack that? What you just said?
Yeah, I have to attack it. I'm just telling you what I think Microsoft needs to do better because they changed the user interface like every month. Like go back to the Blades.
All right, no, we're not gonna go back to the Blades. We're gonna keep what we got. When you go to the home on your PlayStation, what you got? You got a static front, and you don't know nothing unless you go to the store.
You got your games. And then you go to the store. Yeah, if you go to the store, you know what you gotta look for.
Then you get a lot of stuff when you go to the store.
Yes.
If you cross the street, you get a lot of stuff. And Microsoft, when you go to the home, there's stuff all across the bottom of the bar. If you care to look at it, it tells you what's on sale, what's inside your games of gold, and what's popping up.
It's on separate pages, and half of that stuff
is it right there in the front.
If you hit the bumper,
it's the front, man.
Yeah, okay. So you turn on your Xbox, right? You got your most recent game. It says resume, right? And then it got some other stuff there. Now, if you hit the bumpers,
wait, don't throw the other stuff away.
No. If you hit when you cut your system on, it's got the home, and then it has your
because
that's online playing games, and then the next one it has your games with Go, then it has Game Pass, and then it also shows if anything's on sale that week. It's all listed right underneath the.
It's right there.
I never paid. Well, that kind of tells you right there.
Because you're a PlayStation.
No, I'm on my Xbox. I'm on my Xbox every day. I
know. No. Listen. Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying, and also all interfaces are uniquely designed to cater to other people's needs. Per se like the interface for Microsoft, where I heard somebody in my party in Microsoft says, I like the interface for PlayStation. And I said, wow, really?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah. And he told me why. And I said, wow, it does make sense when you talk about it. Remember, we all live in a vacuum as gamers. And we all believe that our opinion is key. Where there's somebody that loves, like you said, Blades. There's probably somebody so pissed off with Microsoft that probably got rid of their system because they got rid of Blades.
Yeah,
I love the Blades.
But that, you know why I brought that up, right? Because those were the glory days that I remember that. This was
I'm not drinking no more. I'm not drinking with you no more.
I'm not gonna lie, man. That the Blades was the shit. I remembered it. Now I get it. They had to get with the times, but if they could have like a UI you can download, like classic UIs and stuff like that, I think that would be dope because it could customize it. Now again, just like what you agreed with me on, right? Gaming is a selfish hobby. You're looking at it as how you want it to be, not necessarily how it is. So if you like the current one, that'll be dope. But if I had the option to download one of the past, or maybe even the OG Xbox UI, that'll be dope.
Yeah. Hey guys, I want to move on to the next topic because we're probably going on.
Murdered this topic.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. You knew what you was in for when you got me and David on the podcast.
This is already down.
No, I knew what I was doing.
Don't hit him no more. He's down already.
No, but it's actually a great conversation. I mean, that's why I had you guys on, because I knew that it would be a great conversation. So,
no doubt.
But I do want to get to something that Slow-Mo and I don't always see eye to eye on things.
For real?
Yeah.
Let those dudes fight.
I mean, I come back to the DM sometime. I'm like, what happened?
I put that in our DM, man. And I was just listening to them go back and forth for like 4 hours.
Oh,
it wasn't that long, man. It was more like about 45 minutes.
No, so it was long, man. It was like 4 hours.
I was at work. I saw where it started. I came back. It was like I don't even know where to jump in. I was like, I was going, boy.
No, but you know, it's I love Slow-Mo's passion, even though we don't always agree, but I always respect his opinion. You know, something came up recently with Jason Schreier from Kotaku, and you know, I think we all respect Jason as a journalist, but he's kind of gone after YouTube content creators. And, so I'm losing my voice, man. So we'll let you roll with this, man.
Yeah. I was wondering. I was like, man, like he's fading, man. I'm like,
it was like he was going. He was dead. He was like,
yeah. I was like, I'm about to be like, hey, look, man, I ain't do it. I ain't poison Enrique and nothing.
Somebody poisoned Brad.
But like this Game of Thrones, someone pulled the assassination.
Listen, hey, text us the question.
Look, Enrique, blink twice if Slow-Mo did this to you. But no, look, so I don't know. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about Jason Schreier's debate with Yanye, right? The YouTuber. And so if you haven't, basically Yanye and Jason Schreier have been kind of snipping at each other back and forth for the last maybe a couple of months. You know, Yanye will do a video, and he's a fan of Jason Schreier. I think we all are to an extent. Yeah. I mean, the dude's like the best investigative journalist in gaming that there is right now. So everyone kind of really enjoys the fact that Jason gets the scoop on things, and he puts stuff out there that you don't hear about, the inner workings of Destiny, the inner workings of what happened with Mass Effect and drama. That like he gets all that stuff. So everyone enjoys the work that he does, but it's just like the other stuff where like Jason will defend a corporation who's doing some microtransactions, and then he'll kind of go after gamers, and people look at him like, like, what you doing? So it's that kind of stuff where he and Yanye differ, and he calls Yanye a quote unquote a YouTube provocateur, as far as provoking people in the gaming industry to like into gamer rage towards these publishers and corporations.
I want to say something real quick. Jason saying that is an attempt for Jason trying to discredit Yanye, and I don't agree with that. But go ahead, man.
But I didn't hear you say you think he is trying to discredit Yanye?
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you call him a provocateur, I mean, come on, man. Please don't use that long of a word to describe me. With somebody putting all those syllables together, man, you gonna be like, he's a what? A provocateur? Oh my God! When does he have the time to do such things?
Yeah, it's wild. So like, I would recommend everyone go to, if you're not 100% certain on what's been going on, go to Yanye's channel. Look at the video that came out Sunday, and it's Jason actually came to Yanye on Twitter and said, "Hey, look, I think you and I need to have a conversation." It was basically after Schreier had called him, you know, a YouTube provocateur, and then Yanye came out with a video that I was like, well, he leaned into it. He was like, "You gonna call me that? Okay, I'm gonna change my name on Twitter to YouTube provocateur. I'm gonna make a video about you. I'm gonna do all that stuff." And so then they decided, hey, let's have a discussion. Let's have a debate. We'll have it on your channel. And so they had that. A lot of people have had a lot of differing opinions. Me and Enrique have differed on, you know, on opinions, and agreed on some things as well in regards to how that video transpired and what happened in that video. But I think we all kind of agree on what happened after the video was just, it just wasn't right. So essentially, the video comes out. And part of the issues that Jason Schreier has with Yanye is that he says that Yanye's community is a bunch of alt-right, Gamergator, basically bad people. I can't think of all the words. You know how he a writer, so he got all different kinds of adjectives to go with that. I can't remember all of them. So, and he kind of blames Yanye for how his community will be in his comment section saying a lot of things, calling him a cuck, calling him all this kind of stuff. And right after the video came out, Jason Schreier goes on Twitter, takes a screen cap of a comment and says, see, look, Yanye, this is what I'm talking about. You know, I think you need to think long and hard about how you come off to your community, because this is the kind of stuff that you provoke. And that kind of blew up like massively, because a lot of people's looking at it like, are you really going to blame a dude that's got 700K plus subs?
Hey, Slomo, real quick, there was one anti-Semitic comment in there, which Jason retweeted.
Yeah.
Yanye doesn't encourage people to make anti-Semitic quotes. And that's the part that really bothered me. But go ahead, man.
Yeah, and that's what I think is really strange. And I made a post about this, a tweet about this, and I made sure that both Yanye and Jason Schreier saw it. Although, you know, who am I? I ain't nobody. But so no one actually responded to me. But I put it out there that, look, you can't really be, and this is Enrique may disagree with me, but I believe Jason Schreier is being a bit of a hypocrite here, because I actually saw on Saturday on Reset Era where there was a thread talking about this upcoming discussion, and Reset Era, I would say, just right off the bat, they love Jason Schreier. They act like he's a god. There was actually a post in there where the guy said Jason Schreier is a god. So I think, I mean, they don't say anything negative about the guy there. He posts there on the regular. He engages with the community there. They love him. So when it comes to YouTubers, they hate YouTubers pretty much like universally. But the first 7 pages of this thread is all them just talking mad shit about Yanye, calling him a cunt, calling him a Nazi. He's Asian. He's a Nazi. Okay. Calling him all kind of definitely a gamer.
Asian Nazis. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there was.
That's an ideology.
But basically, they're calling him a lot of stuff that's not true about Yanye. We can get into whether whether he's an Asian Nazi or not. But look, a lot of stuff about the guy that ain't true.
I'm not gonna get into it. Okay, so I'm trying to get the crust of it because I don't know Yanye. All right, I heard of Jason Schreier. I don't really follow him.
I guess for me, it's
So you got journalists versus YouTubers, right?
Yeah,
and that's exactly what's happening.
We slow. We know that journalists hate YouTubers, and you know why? It's because they're taking a lot of that revenue in the swing of things, where most people would take what people at IGN or Kotaku or Game.
Kratos, can I interject real quick?
Yeah, please go ahead.
My voice goes again. Real quick, I think for me, my issue with Jason is his expectation of YouTubers needing to be objective and present facts, right? But Jason years ago had tweeted that something to the effect of, and I'm paraphrasing, that to strive for objectivity in gaming journalism is like silly. It's like nonsense. And so how can you place that expectation on other people when you don't believe that yourself and you're a journalist? And that's my issue with him. And that's why I'm starting to think that there's probably this narrative, maybe within gaming. And again, this is my opinion. I'm starting to think that maybe there's this narrative within gaming journalists that, those guys are the bad guys, the YouTubers.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't agree with that. We're not the bad guys. We're not.
I'm trying to figure out the topic crux for how I can attack it in a manner that, because this is what I think I hear, right?
Mm-hmm.
From what you're saying, not to cut you off, Brad, but what I think I hear is that, okay, there is the journalists, the writers, against the YouTubers, right?
Mhm.
And how I see it is the same way in the movie industry where you had actors against rappers and athletes, right?
Mhm.
And these guys that hone their craft, that work for so long to get to an excellence level, and they feel that YouTubers, anybody with a camera, can jump on and without any training or anything like that, get
Fact.
10,000 subs and stuff and be on equal footing. And they don't view them as equals because they felt that they didn't put in the work.
Oh yeah.
That's the old head versus the new head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the
You're
level-
right there with us, man. You're right there
Right.
with us. Yeah.
So the level of disrespect Jason Schreier is going to have towards Yanye and his disconnect towards Yanye's crowd, and I'm not going to say crowd because I don't like to view the people in the chat as family, right? Because you come here all the time, you interact all the time. You probably interact with these people more than you interact with family, right? Anyway, but he doesn't understand Yanye's following, and what he tries to use is this highbrow mentality, but my followers or my crowd is of a different caliber than yours. Apples and oranges, bro.
Yeah.
No, if you Jason's articles, because Jason's like, oh, there's toxic responses. You go to a Kotaku article, you see the same people making toxic responses too.
Right.
Yeah, and that's moderated responses. There's actually a moderate. You can't just go into a Jason Schreier article and just post some crap.
Yeah.
Like you can do that on a YouTube video. We see it all the time. But on a Kotaku article, this guy is held, looked at by a moderator, and then approved. So the stuff you see on there that's like,
it was allowed.
That's allowed. So that's even worse. Yet you're gonna go to Yang and say you need to say something about the people who comment on your videos. You need to take responsibility for them.
Think so.
Like that's a bit hypocritical to me. I'm like, how are you going to tell him to do that, but you don't do that yourself? You don't tell the people who comment on your or in Reset Era and say things that glorify you, and then talk mad shit about Yang, and then you post in the same thread and just say, hey, check out the video. Love you guys. Like, nah, you tell me you just missed that 7 pages of Gamergator, cunt talk. Come on, bro. You gonna tell me on your articles you never actually look at the comments and see the kind of crazy stuff that people say? Come on. Like you can't have it both ways. You can't have a certain standard for YouTubers that you don't have for your own colleagues in your own office. That's not cool.
Here's the thing about it. They both need each other. The YouTube content creators need the higher end publishing companies and the websites, and vice versa. Because that reach, right? You got the younger crowd. The younger crowd are not going to IGN and all those big sites anymore. They're logging on to their favorite YouTubers, seeing what's going on throughout the day. They are getting the information real time. These websites and the guys, at IGN and stuff, their stuff is updated a couple of times a day, maybe. And so this has been going on. This is not just in this industry, but this is across media, period. Back in yesteryear, there was the newspaper that people used to read, and then the internet happened, and now people don't, people got their mobile phones. They're looking at stuff on their apps and stuff like that. So it's the old dogs versus the new dogs, and the old dogs need to understand that, you no longer have to go to school for 4 to 5 to 6 years in order to be a legitimate source of information. A lot of YouTubers have more inside information than the big publications. And that's just what it is. Yep. And so I think this is why the hate is going back and forth. But at the same time, the new crowd has to realize they do need to pay their respects for the people who've paved the way, because without them, they wouldn't have this opportunity like us sitting here on the podcast, just talking, getting information out to hundreds of people, thousands of people or whatever, and having that connection directly to whether it's Phil Spencer, Aaron Greenberg, or Yoshida, or whoever in the industry. And that's just kind of what that is.
Go ahead, Green.
I beg to differ, Kratos, in the sense that I don't believe that he needs to bow his knee to this individual that that's a dinosaur, that's a relic in the state, and in the thinking that, see, my daughter just came home with a piece of paper that stated that they are going to have YouTube how-to, basically, right? How to become a YouTuber, how to edit, how to put your video up, how to do all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So my daughter's completely excited. You know why? Because Daddy's on a podcast, right? So she's very intrigued, and she plays the podcast. They play the podcast in school. Sometimes I hear you, Brad, but sometimes I don't. That's why I like sometimes I'll look up. Yeah, so she's going to try to do that, right? So she's going to really basically skip all those years of all this editing, all this stuff. They got tools and stuff now that these photographers and stuff had to sweat and make, right? She may never know who Spielberg was, but she might one day make a movie off of editing tools on her phone.
Yeah.
Right?
X.
So this man who's you're looking at the next man and is either envious of his following or his easy path to stardom, whatever the case may be. It's not for the young man to embrace the old man because the young man has blazed a path on his own. It's up to the older dude to embrace the young, because if he doesn't, he's going to be left behind and run over. That's what's going to happen next. And that's what he's seeing. So he's probably trying to discredit the young man, but it's not going to do anything but bring eyes to him. Because you're saying his name right now. I have no idea who he is, but now I'm going to look him up.
It actually has brought eyes to him because, like Slomo said, big YouTubers have commented about his appearance with Young A and have spoke against Jason Schreier. So it's happening already.
Yep. Yeah, and you look at King David makes a great point, because you look at like Jason Schreier will go months and months and months, doing interviews with devs behind the scenes, putting a piece together. He'll put some stuff out there saying, "Hey, look, guys, we'll be on the lookout. I'm putting a piece together about this particular topic or whatever," and then he'll come out with that piece, and then he'll be on Kotaku, and they'll get like, hey, maybe 100,000 views. A lot of people look at it and say, "Hey, that was a great article, great job." Yet Yang will just sit down in front of his computer, turn on his webcam, push out a video, just him sitting there talking, which is literally like 100% of all his videos. It's just him, this little Asian guy sitting there talking. And then he'll get 80,000 views in an hour. Like he'll do that quickly. Over 24 hours, he's already got more views than Jason Schreier's article was going to get in his entire lifetime. And so, and that is when people subscribe to him, and we know how YouTube works. You just mind your business, and bing, you got a notification. Oh, Yang came out with another video. You ain't getting no bang. Kotaku, Jason Schreier just came out with another article. So it's like it is very much the and we old heads, so we remember how like newspapers were the big media back in the day. You get your newspaper, you'll find out, you ever had like you trying to watch a sports game and you like, man, I gotta go to bed, I gotta go to school tomorrow, and then you wake up early in the morning and check the newspaper to see who won, just to see see who won the score. Like the newspaper used to be your way of getting news, and then the Jason Schreiers and the Kotakus, they with their digital media took that over, destroyed that method of being the most popular way and the biggest way to disseminate media. This is the next step. So yeah, absolutely, Jason Schreier and Kotaku, they need to get with the times. They need to make a YouTube channel. Maybe Jason need to make his own.
It's too late.
Look at what Greg Miller's doing. Kind of funny. That's what they did. They left IGN and they do their own, video podcast, daily updates and news, and that's completely.
If he did that, if he would have actually embraced the young buck instead of doing exactly what he's doing, I think it would end better for him.
You know what the crazy thing is, King, is that Young A, when he used the word provocateur, he's not. He really isn't. He's like the most, to me, out of all the YouTubers, least threatening. You know?
I think everybody is a provocateur in some form or fashion. I have a crowd that will when I start talking Xbox stuff, and listen, I'm just trolling and having a good time, he's a provocateur. When I'm talking PlayStation stuff, you know, he's a provocateur. I'm pretty sure that everybody can be labeled that if they're passionate about whatever project or whatever thing they're into, their stuff. Yeah. You know? So when you use the word, I just laugh because I'm just like, that's not a derogatory term. That sounds like a passionate person who is going to invoke emotion into individuals. Now, however that emotion is used is one thing, right? But if he's trying to align him with the negative comments that's inside his chat that he has no control over, that's completely wrong. That's wrong.
No, I agree. And I yeah, and then, you know, to Jason's point of objectivity, he holds YouTubers to a different standard than he holds journalists, and that's my issue.
He doesn't look at YouTubers the same way.
But
YouTubers.
Well, YouTubers are still presenting in a lot of instances news too, you know.
Yeah.
So,
you know, and you know, here's a perfect example of something that Jason Schreier will say, but then I mean, he doesn't really hold himself to his own standards sometimes. So like, I'm a recite the tweet about Diablo Immortal, how he went in on the dude who stood up doing the Q&A and said, "Is this an off-season April Fool's joke?" Well, Jason on Twitter said, you know, I think it was Skill Up, another YouTuber. He went after him. He went up after Skill Up, who said, you know, that was the absolutely savage. And Jason Schreier retweeted that and commented, "This isn't quote unquote savagery. It's fucking obnoxious, embarrassing behavior. I get why people are mad. I really do. But you can be critical without being an asshole to people who spend their lives trying to entertain you." Interesting he says that, because if you go back to 2013, the title of a Jason Schreier article says, "Game developers really need to stop letting teenage boys design their characters." Interesting. So you want, you know, this gamer, this guy who spent his hard-earned money to go to BlizzCon, and he's disappointed because all they showed was a mobile game, to show you know, respect for these developers. Meanwhile, you're writing articles that say these developers need to stop letting teenage boys design their characters. Who is being more insulting?
And he actually did apologize for that too.
Yeah, but that's it about him. Like, even in the Yang debate, Yang points out, he's like, "You told the dude to fuck off on Twitter," and he's like, "Yeah, well, I was angry." He was like, "But you're getting mad at gamers who are expressing their anger towards devs, but it's okay for you to do that, but not them." It's like, what are you talking about, dude?
Yang didn't impress him enough either. He should have. Young A didn't impress him enough with that issue of telling him to fuck off. Like, because Jason was like, "Oh, you know, I was angry," and then, like, you know, Young A's like, "Well, you're talking about, you know, gamer rage. Isn't that the same?" And Jason's like, No, it's not the same. You know, it's Twitter." And so Young A kind of let him off the hook. But you know, I agree with you in that. Like, that's not. It's not like Jason's not living up to his own expectations.
Yeah.
And after I finished watching that entire video, I saw that. I'm like, you know, this isn't good. This is not good. I mean, I respect for Jason for digging in and doing the investigative reporting, because he does, but his attitude towards YouTubers is really off.
Yeah. And I agree with Kratos. I agree with David. I think his attitude towards YouTubers is all 100% kind of wrapped up in this is the new school And I don't want to do it, and I don't want to be mean, but like I don't know if Jason has like the voice for YouTube. Like I don't know if he's comfortable. Yeah, I don't know if he's comfortable, doing that, and so he's just like, I'm not going to do that, and I'm upset about this.
Voice?
Yeah, he got like a he got like a Care Bear voice, so like it's
Care Bear.
Yeah. This is. I mean, I don't think it was a.
We're gonna catch his wrath now.
Exactly right.
I wish he would highlight me. I wish he would highlight me.
Yeah,
don't do that.
Yeah, put us on, Jason. Go ahead and do that. But
don't give us the look.
Yeah,
just emasculating him.
We say
I think I've told you guys this before. Though.
He's gonna say that we're emasculating him.
right.
Whatever.
Yeah, I told you guys before
troll.
When it comes to like the journalistic side, he's still one of the rare people that actually do journalistic work. Like they do what big and get the story right.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
but I think opposite of guys like Ryan McCaffrey, who kind of like will still interact with the community, even though he takes a lot of shots and a lot of not shots giving out shots, but he takes a lot of shots from people in the community. Right? He still tries to maintain like that level of separation. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I told you guys. I think Jason has really let vitriol from like Twitter communities and things like that get to him. And it's sort of given him sort of like, I don't know what I'm looking for, like, not like a bias, but he definitely kind of goes at certain aspects of the community.
Yeah.
Like immediately. If he feels any whiff that you're going a certain direction, it's a wrap.
Yeah. I also find it kind of interesting that he went after Yanye in a way, because Yanye isn't he's not a disrespectful person. Like he'll come out, he'll go in on a topic and a person, but even when he goes in, it's not like he's calling you all kinds of names and cussing you out. He brings it all facts and then his opinion. It's interesting he called him a YouTube provocateur when he could have went after someone who's a real YouTube provocateur like Jim Sterling. Like you want to talk about like someone who goes in on the devs.
Listen, I don't have enough time in my day. I probably have like at least 5 podcasts that I have to rotate. I have to rotate them because I'm actually friends with these guys. Like I have to watch your podcast, right? I have to tune in, at least watch at least half and get to the point where I'm working. I'm like, okay, I got half in with Brad. Okay, let me do 4 guys. I don't have time really to find new YouTube guys. I don't. Mm-hmm. So, like a lot of times you're talking about people and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to look those guys up because my plate is full. Like my YouTube plate, I got a smorgasbord. I'm very good with what I'm eating. I'm great with it. It's very hard to find a good mix, like a Smash podcast and Scum podcast, and I gotta even listen to my stupid podcast over. And you know what? And it sounds egotistical and messed up because I really don't like to listen to my voice. I really don't like to see me. I really don't like to do that stuff over again, and I don't read comments. I don't go in there and do that stuff. But I have to look at it because sometimes if somebody brings up a topic and I'm like, damn, I didn't say that, and I gotta tweet them, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yo, I forgot to say this part, or I apologize if my facts was wrong here. And that's the only reason why I will ever go back and look at my own podcast. But other than that, my plate is full, and YouTube provocateur, that's what YouTube is for. Okay, YouTube is for you to go to a place where somebody thinks like you like their opinions, and it's great. Like he likes people to look at his pieces. Good, fine, great. You don't like the guy's content, tune him out. Don't disrespect him and don't try to demean him, because all you're gonna do is give his balloon more hot air and lift.
Yep. All he did was just introduce more people to who Yanye was.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. He really did.
Yeah. And most people who watch that video are like, yeah, Yanye kind of comes out looking better on this, and Jason kind of doesn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty universal.
He's a bitter dinosaur.
No,
I saw that.
Young actually looks more than professional in that video.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't agree with Slow-Mo. We debated about this. So
yes, we did. I look, man, Enrique, I got love for you, man. I love how we stick to our guns and go at it, man. It's just all love, man.
At the end of the day, man, we can have civil discord, you know.
Yeah,
and that's what I feel like that's lacking these days. You know, where people they feel like
these days, man, where you been for the last 5 years? That's been lacking for a long time.
It's true.
You don't agree with me, you're a hater.
Like Slow-Mo, we love gaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we may have differences, but we have one commonality that brings us together: gaming and go-go. By the way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Go-go.
He don't know. He ain't from the DMV. King, we got to introduce you to some go-go one day, man. You gonna love it, bro.
Listen, I'm from New York, so you're saying go-go, I'm thinking of a whole different go-go.
Nah, man. Look. We talking about like backyard band. This is like old school DC.
Chuck Brown, Northeast Groovers.
Northeast Groovers.
All right, I'm thinking about go-go girls with the go-go boots.
No.
So listen, hey, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm from New York. So you said that, I'm like, I'm okay.
I feel you on that. Yeah.
You said go-go, gaming and go-go. I'm like, that doesn't go together.
Maybe not at the same time.
I don't know.
That could be a business idea.
Oh my God, Lex.
Play some COD and some go-go.
Oh God.
But yeah, you know, it's funny because it's like me and Enrique can have, and even me and Forte, like we get into DMs and we have all kinds of discussions about stuff. We may disagree on one thing or another. David, when I come in and David and Kratos going at it about Xbox and PlayStation, this is like debate argument, like sequel number, issue number 65, but it's like at the end of the day, it's all love. We go our separate ways, and it's
y'all don't
great.
Understand what Brap did. Brap is the Thanos of this.
Yeah.
What Brap did was, I was going in doing some stuff earlier, right? I was minding my own business, acting a fool, and I probably like 50, 60 posts up, and I'm going crazy. And Brap goes, "Where's Kratos?" I took the bait like a shark. I had 3 guys throwing a body in the trunk, and I said, he ain't talking. Kratos, here comes Kratos, boy.
Boy. But like at the end of the day, it's all love, and that's what I feel is like missing from this whole Yanye and Jason Schreier thing, because they ended the debate on a friendly note. And I really do feel like Yanye was like, I'm glad we had this discussion. We may disagree, but
Jason had that tweet at the end.
But as soon as the thing is over, Jason goes to Twitter and he's like, passive aggressively taking shots, and it's just like, dude, you just ended the discussion and you already going in.
He's bitter.
Yeah.
Bitter. That's the part that you don't understand. With a bitter individual, nothing is going to change the crux of his issue, right? And the crux of his issue has absolutely nothing to do with Yanye. It has everything to do with himself. He's watching himself disappear, because with the growing of technology, the next person is building an app that's going to make this YouTube stuff seem like a thing of the past, and he's not on that upper crest, that wave going in. He's actually on a wave going out.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
And to see that, to realize your career mortality, that's an issue within yourself. How do you reinvent yourself that you become more relevant, that you become as relevant as your highest peak. We're never as we were as our highest. We want to get to a level that we can maintain and stay there. Now, if he starts to dip past his maintain level, that's when panic starts to set in, and you start to look to the left and the right, and you start to get envious at the guy elevating and passing you.
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guarantee he looks at Young like content and goes, "Damn, you know,
Yeah.
that dude is doing something I would like to do."
And Lord King, I'm sorry, I just want to say something real quick. Lord King, you guys have had developers on your show, right? We've had developers, journalists on Brett before, so it's not exclusive to just traditional game journalists anymore. It really isn't.
Yeah, it's not.
You know, so Kratos, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say what a bigger man should have done, which Jason should have did. He should have acknowledged Young Ye, and he should have brought him on his show, had coffee, kind of air everything out, and be the bigger man and show him, hey, we can work hand in hand. This don't necessarily have to be a us versus you thing. I think that's that's what I would have did. I was like, hey, come on here, let's have a conversation, let's talk or whatever. At his side, let people know it's no hard feelings, and you can't have YouTube content creators, and you can't have the traditional media outlets, and we can coexist. They're just
absolutely.
I think that's what I would have did.
No, absolutely, guys. I do want to get to we did get to cover NPD, and I'm not going to get into that because I want to get to Fallout before we wrap up. I just want to say, Lord King, PlayStation 4 won NPD again. So,
yeah, of course, bro.
And actually, the highest selling month of October since the PlayStation 2. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So,
but, hey, Kratos, you got more systems out there. So,
hey, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. It's not about
trying to break you there, King.
It's showing you that they are gaining steam on how many systems that they're constantly selling 5 years later. Around this time, every generation, you should be dipping down in sales. But this thing is
man. Kratos, you just started selling your games of the year.
Oh,
Kratos. Listen, man. Listen, and I'm gonna break it down to you, right? Yeah. This is your best year yet. Period. God knows that.
Every year. Right? Every year.
No, stop that. This is I'm playing game of the year right now. I'm playing Spider-Man DLC 2 right now.
Not God of War?
Yeah.
I finished my God of War completely, 100% platinum, and I started Game Plus.
Not Game of the Year?
No, hell no.
I think so.
That's for you.
Yeah.
I believe Spider-Man is Game of the Year, and I gave my reasons why. And remember, it's Game of the Year for me. Where I'm not saying God of War is a bad game. I'm saying it's a great game, right? But it's Game of the Year for that guy. Where Spider-Man is giving me what I was asking for that God of War didn't. But that's neither here nor there. But this is your best year. We're rolling into Christmas time.
Yeah.
Right? The biggest celebrated holiday, maybe the world over. Right? Maybe. I don't know. But this is the time people are purchasing games and stuff and stocking ready, getting ready for Christmas, putting this stuff down. What's the most popular? What's this? What's that? We're not in a recession. We have an excess of cash. If you haven't looked at your bank account lately, your bank account has a little bit more ducats inside of it.
Yeah.
So with these ducats, what are you going to do? Well, the masses, the casuals, seem to go with the crowd. The PlayStation is the crowd.
Yeah.
So MPDs don't ever surprise me at all. You're supposed to be selling at this clip. If you were taking a dip, that would mean that you didn't have games. You got a ton of games, man.
Well, I think what Matt Piscatella was saying, he's saying that, and this is a very interesting point. He's saying that previously you could predict kind of like the curve of console sales from the start to the middle to the end. And what he's saying is the traditional console cycle is done because we're seeing the PlayStation 4 at this trajectory that you don't see yet year 5.
Yeah.
You see a decline, and it's interesting. I think Seamus Blackley kind of commented on what Matt said, and he's kind of like, I'm not surprised. It's like, the line between console generation is basically over now. We're not there anymore. The traditional cycle is done with.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of fascinating because I think it shows the shift of the industry this console gen, where we've gone from our last console gen. Everyone said what that console gen was too long. This console gen we had three switches to 5 or 6 year traditional console gen, and consoles are still going on. I mean, even the X.
Hey, you cut out. We couldn't even hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
You might want bananas.
Yeah.
King David, I actually I like Spider-Man more than God of War as well. And I actually think when it comes to, I think Red Dead 2 is going to be is my game of the year, but I still enjoy. I'm playing the Spider-Man DLCs, and I enjoyed it more than God of War. Though I think I understand people feeling God of War is a better game. But look, next NPD, we're gonna see PlayStation killing it again because that $200 PlayStation Spider-Man, that thing can't stay on store shelves.
They sold out already.
Yeah.
Bro, let me tell you.
Go ahead, hey Forte. Go ahead, man.
I had those boys going to the ceiling in here on Sunday. It was like 70 seconds. I come up here to finalize payroll and make sure all my people get paid. And I was like, walk in the back room, and my assistant is boxing up like 9 PS4s. I'm like, what you doing with those? He's like, oh man, these are all being shipped to customer's house. I was like, damn, that many of them. He's like, yeah. I was like, how you doing in sales today? He said, man, all my PS4s are gone. I was like, what?
Wow.
I walk in my system room, bro. I look and I'm like, wow, no PS4s, but a bunch of Xboxes. This is something crazy right now.
Well, you don't got Spider-Man on Xbox. You don't got God of War on Xbox. Yeah. And you don't have the masses on Xbox. Yeah. So Microsoft is selling Game Pass. $1. All right, so you don't need to stock that. That don't gotta be stocked inside your storeroom. $1.
Oh my God! Hey, that's making me think of Eddie Murphy. That is a deal for me.
The one thing I noticed about $1. The one thing I noticed about the generation versus last generation is the difference between Microsoft, Sony's 86, almost 90 million systems, and Nintendo last generation 100 million is Nintendo came out the gate red hot. It didn't slow down for the first 4 to 5 years. PlayStation had a steady growth
build.
For the first a very steady growth over the first 4 or 5 years. Now you're seeing all those other people, like the people that waited towards the end of the generation, hey, PS4s are finally cheap enough for me to buy one, which you normally see towards the end of a generation. Yeah. So that is what you're seeing now. It's not that the system is the better system to play on and everything. It's just right now the mind share is all around Sony.
It is.
And what they're doing.
It is.
Forte, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Being that you're in the retail aspect of it, right? And you can attest to what I'm going to say at this point in time. And the reason why Matt Piscatella and everybody is confounded, I can't believe this is happening. Type of thing.
Matt sound like he's English.
I'm just saying, it's
that's the grape upon.
He's a friend of the realm, and Cognito will slay me in the street for doing this. But in seeing it, right, you're in the know. You're on the forefront. You see the hungry eyes coming in your store. They're looking. PlayStation software, as far as exclusives, even if you go from day one, right, those games that you're going to play, Horizon. I saw Horizon for $20, right? You get Horizon. You get I think The Last of Us remix. You can get all the games, the exclusives, all the way through. And you can end it off with God of War, Spider-Man. Yeah. Spider-Man and God of War, they tearing these streets up right now. And a $200 PlayStation. What makes you think, and you can't get that no place else, right? You can't.
Yeah.
Nope.
Boy.
What makes you think sales of that system won't have an upward trajectory? Now, this is the question that I'm posing, right? Because in that, I'm pretty sure in Sony's greatest and best case scenarios, they didn't project this. Does this outward growth and expounded new PlayStation owners stagnate the release of the PlayStation 5? Because if you can grow past 100, why not 150? If the rate is such at a pace, you understand?
I'm gonna tell you. I'm go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. You can start it. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, what I was gonna say is the one thing that I noticed, especially being here in retail, is God of War. Yes, God of War was a monster. We sold a lot of it. But when Spider-Man was getting ready to release, it was a whole nother thing. That was a whole nother monster. Like, people that I didn't even know were into gaming bought a PS4 because they just love Spider-Man. It was like the catalyst that moved the needle more than any other first-party title ever could. You know, I've never seen as much support in just one platform as much as I've seen over the last 3 months since Spider-Man came out. Yes, the system is on sale right now, and that definitely helps the situation. But people were still looking for the pro version, the custom system, for like the last 3 months.
I can't find it. I can't find it.
You can't find it anywhere. You know, I mean, they're going for $600-700 on.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing that. I mean, shout out to Sony for making sure that your boy got one. So, you know, I love them boys for that. But the biggest thing is, I tell everybody when they walk into the store, it's all about personal preference. And right now, anybody that is a gamer and just not biased to these platforms and just have a favorite one that they just want to champion just to the end of time, it's all personal preference. We're your friends that really matter. And PlayStation, as much as people don't like it, they got the mind share of all those extra people. Like, when I guarantee if you walk up your street, 5 out of 10 people, or probably 7 out of 10 people, have PlayStations in their house. You know, that's just the narrative right now. So when you go into your friend's house and you see that PlayStation and he's playing Spider-Man, hey, how much? Where did you get that from? Oh, it's PlayStation 4 and playing Spider-Man. Oh, dang, I got an Xbox. Well, too bad it's not on Xbox. That makes people want to run out and get something like that. Tie that with the success of the Marvel franchise with the new Infinity War. That just ratcheted up the whole conversation over the summer just to get people even more hyped up for something that they were tying into the MCU. So it's just a perfect storm this year. But I've never seen a company have this much growth so fast. You know, think about it. 160 million systems between 360 and PS3 were sold last generation. A little bit over there, probably like close to 170.
Yep.
Right now, Xbox is really lagging behind. They haven't hit, allegedly haven't even hit 40 million yet. We know PlayStation.
No, that's not true. You're already at 50. Stop that lie. But go ahead.
I'm just saying allegedly. I'm saying
allegedly. Allegedly, that's wrong.
Microsoft isn't putting out numbers. Microsoft ain't putting out numbers, so we don't know. And honestly, when it comes to the numbers thing, I don't know if Microsoft ever can put out numbers, because if they start doing numbers later on, they just sound. I just don't think that'll be a good.
Yeah, don't do it. Leave it alone.
Just leave it alone. Just keep doing what you're doing. Even if you're doing well, just talk the stuff you've been talking. But I just see this getting a little bit worse before it gets better, because there are still people out there that haven't jumped on the generation. So I can see record numbers for this system over the holiday. I told one of my friends, I can see PlayStation being at 103 million by the end of their physical year in March.
Jesus.
But they don't put out the PlayStation 5 because of all this growth.
I think they still going to drop it when they want it.
They don't put out PS5 if there's no backwards compatibility.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you,
which I think there will be, because I mean, sorry, Jay, I didn't cut you off. Because if you remember, and Jay probably speak to this too, PS2 kept like stacking numbers even when the PS3 hit, and that I'm sure part of that was definitely because of the fumble or whatever the case may be. But that's just kind of how their generations go. Like Forte said, you know, once that price drops to a certain point, that's when all those people who were just kind of sitting back waiting, still rocking with a PS, rocking with a 360, start to make that move.
But there was a lot of support for new content on the PS2 after the PS3 released.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, I mean,
that Last of Us.
Yeah,
they kind of drove sales. So,
because EA does not let that go. EA is like we put Madden and FIFA on everything.
And let's not forget that. I think another reason that Microsoft isn't selling as well as they probably want to, especially this holiday compared to Sony, the games that are in these bundles, I'm not going to say they're trash. They're not trash. They are good games. But Battlefield bundle, everybody played Battlefield.
Yo, so, he's in retail and he knows that they'll come get his ass. Hey, I'm not going to say they trash. They're really good games.
Look, man, but Battlefield in a bundle, Minecraft, how many times? I mean, everybody should have Minecraft at this point. Yeah. Why are we still putting Minecraft in a box with an Xbox? This should be
the guy that's in charge of the bundles is on cruise control. Is a machine that's putting it together. Exactly. All right, there's nobody with any thought that put that. Did you see what the bundles look like? Did you see the colors of the systems? Oh man!
Don't most kids at this point kind of play that on like a tablet of some sort?
Who in their right mind earlier this generation? I mean, when that Minecraft bundle came out, who in their right mind would make that Target exclusive?
Yeah, come on now.
Why would a something like that be Target exclusive? And but you want to sell to more people. So I just think we talked about it a long time ago. Microsoft and their marketing department they got a lot of work ahead of them. But I think those bundles aren't appealing to people. Yes, they can go ahead and say, "Hey, buy this game, and we'll give you any pick of a $60 game for free." That's fine if you actually go into the store and you hear that message, but what are they saying to the people that are at home on the TV watching
Game Pass $1? That's what they're telling you. Game Pass $1. Listen, Forte, man. I understand exactly what you're saying.
And that goes into the marketing. Like the Game Pass is a great tool. It's a great tool for casuals. And
for
casuals,
new gamers.
for new gamers, and they don't know what Game Pass is. We the ones who talk about Game Pass. I got a friend who's a casual. He was like, a game what? And I had to explain to him what Game Pass was. It blew his mind.
Can I say this about Game Pass? Here's the problem with Game Pass. I think it's great, right? But you just said you just hit the head on the nail when you said the casuals. What mostly do the casuals play? Madden and 2K. On Game Pass, when you log into Game Pass, you see 2K16, 2K17 on there, and you see Madden 15. It's like that is not enough to catch them. Yes, you got some of the exclusives that are day one, like Forza Horizon. You got Gears. You got those, but those are not casual games.
Yeah, and plus, like the hardcore gamer already owns that stuff. Like we look at Game Pass and we like there's
it's not for us. It's not for us
because we already own a lot of those games already. They're already in there. But
that's just it. That energy that they put in the XO18 is like I'm sitting here like Game Pass $1. Like King said, I'm like I got Game Pass up to 2019. Like late 2019.
Yo, I'm right with you. I got like 10 years worth of Game Pass.
I put down $20 and got the 20
to an audience that already kind of like knows about it. You know what I'm saying? You need to have that energy on Nickelodeon. You need to have that energy on,
okay. I just want to say one thing, right? And being that the numbers came out and PlayStation Now was beating it, and I understand they was putting PlayStation Now in everything. Every television that you was able to purchase had a PlayStation Now, and it came with that free subscription. And if you forgot about it, they still charging your card right now. Go check your card.
Right.
This is just a fact. All right, but EA Access was next.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why, and Kratos was going into that, and Kratos just told you that in Game Pass you have all those old 2K games and old Madden, right?
Yeah.
I thought that they were going to be smart and try to absorb EA.
Me too.
Just to get EA access, or do some type of marketing where you purchase Madden flat out and it launches in Game Pass day and day to get that football crowd. Because if you can do that with a Call of Duty or a Madden day and day, you will see the shift right there. That's when the shift happens. And when games, a third-party game of a high caliber ilk is day and day in Game Pass, that's when the shift happens.
Right.
Not before that.
Listen, is getting a publisher to agree to that right now is it's a long shot. And I think Microsoft, I mean, they're doing a good thing, and so they got their own first party in there. So they're putting themselves out on the limb. Hey, look, you know, you can still sell a game and it be in Game Pass. We'll show you. And then like we've seen that, you know, like State of Decay 2 won an NPD 1 month. Forza Horizon 4 still sold pretty well. Like they need to continue that consistently to get some of these publishers to say, all right, you know, we'll try it, but to get to like a FIFA or a Madden, the lion's share of revenue that comes in for EA, like I can see EA maybe doing like Titanfall 3. There may be a smaller IP that you know has Titanfall 2 has some sales issues. So hey, look, maybe we'll put this in there and see that we see that your stuff sells. Maybe this will sell too. Like you can probably get the third party publisher to try that, but they're not gonna try like the biggest sellers. Not quite yet. That would be a great get from.
They can't do that because they have their own competing service. They can't.
Right. Thank you.
Oh yeah, especially EA. EA has EA access. They're not putting anything on Game Pass that's current. That's just
that's why you got bottom.
Say for as garbage as it sounded like the game is. Takeover. Fallout 76 should have been in Game Pass.
Oh man, that's a whole nother.
That's a
game preview game. Winning on that. We talked about that. Me and Kratos talked about that ad nauseum. And you know, listen, if it would have launched in there, would give it time to breathe. I hope they allow that game to become what it's supposed to be. I do believe that it was half baked and put out too early. Because from what I'm hearing, the beta is exactly the same, basically what you got.
Yeah.
So
this is our last topic of the evening.
You said what?
This is our last topic of the evening. Fallout.
Oh yeah, because
how many people have Fallout 76?
I don't have it.
I don't even have Red Dead yet. So what makes you think I'm gonna have
that?
But it's
installed the multiple updates and I haven't played it
yet. I've been on it.
It's at a 50 Metacritic right now.
Hey,
wait, is that user or is that review critic?
No,
that's review.
Review. It's probably the lowest rated reviewed Metacritic score of a big game we've seen this year. But hey, Kratos, what are you playing it on?
I'm playing the Pro.
The Pro. Okay.
Yeah, PS4.
How is it?
Okay, so this is what I want to say. I'm giving y'all my opinion on it. Right.
Okay.
So like it.
I saw all the people out there saying how this game was horrible, all these reviews and stuff. So I said, look, I thoroughly enjoyed Fallout 4. I thoroughly enjoyed all the previous Fallouts. Is this game really that bad? Because it should be giving you something that you wanted. You wanted to play Fallout 4, but you wanted to play it with all your friends. So I bought the game. I played it with my friends. I didn't see what a lot of people were saying, and so I enjoyed it. Does it have a lot of bugs? For a lot of people it did, but for me it's been okay thus far. I booted it up again yesterday and I had this 47 gig patch. I'm like, what the hell? Played it after I downloaded that. I didn't notice much of a change, and I'm like, what the hell is going on with Bethesda? I don't know what's going on with them, but what I can say is, should they have sold the game for full price? No. Should it have been a half price game? Maybe so. Could it have been a DLC? Maybe so. All these shoulda, coulda, wouldas, right? But I still don't think that the game is worth the 47 or whatever it's getting on Metacritic. It possibly can't be. And I made a tweet earlier. How can we say that this game deserves that score and is a mess and broken and is just the worst game ever, right? When we had a Kraken that was lacking, when we had State of Decay that was falling through the floor, when we had wait, when we had a bunch of Sony games, right, that was low
So
rated.
talk about those.
Yeah, no. Listen, I'm not picking on. I'm not just. I'm not picking on Microsoft. I'm picking on games that are getting low review scores, but this one seemed to be the one that's getting the most crap. And I get it, it's Bethesda, but my whole thing about this, Bethesda has never made pretty looking games. So I see people talking about the graphics is ugly. It's like, it's Fallout. What you expect? They've never made a pretty Fallout game. Has it been janky? Yes, they've never made a game that wasn't janky. So I hadn't seen anything in this game that I hadn't seen in the previous ones, and that's just my opinion.
I'm just gonna ask you this, Kratos. We always talk about the difference between. Do you think that? So you say it doesn't deserve to have the score that it has?
No, I just don't. Opinion. I don't think that a lot of the criticism that I saw. I don't think that a lot of it was bandwagon riding. You know, will I give this game an 80? Hell no. Will I give it a 60, 65? Maybe, yes. That would be more fair. But to give it 30 and 40 from what I'm seeing, and I played the game and I'm having the same experience that I had with Fallout 4. And Fallout 4 got a much higher score than this game. And I'm not seeing the difference between the game. This is literally Fallout 4 multiplayer. That's all it is.
I know you subscribe to the whole perception is reality, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because that's the whole problem with
this
game right now. Perception is what's killing this game right now. Yes, like you said, it's Bethesda. They have we all say Bethesda because we know that's what their games basically are. Yeah. But when it's a Fallout game, when it's one of your flagship titles, and it's been you had betas that literally went up to basically the day the game came out, and people seeing no change in it.
Yeah,
you didn't even have to buy this game to know how bad it was.
Some of the criticism is warranted, right? But I would have rather seen from a criticism standpoint. I would rather for them to say, "Look, Bethesda, you've been in business for so many years. You are a premier developer. You've created, all of these games that we've thoroughly enjoyed. You should have known not to release a product in this fashion." That's the criticism that I would like to see universally versus, if you read the reviews, it's all across the board. Like everyone has a totally different review for this game on what they find bad with this game. It's nothing universal. It's not like everybody is saying this one thing is wrong. It's like this person say it's ugly graphics. This person say the sound is horrible. This person say it's buggy. This person say it's dated. This person, it's like, what did you expect from this game?
Well, that's the thing. People's experience, and that's the number one thing you go back to. It's the perception. Just like think about it like this, Kratos. You got both systems. You got an Xbox and a PlayStation, right? You got an X too, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Why didn't you buy Fallout on your Xbox knowing that it would run better on there, supposedly?
No, I bought it on the PlayStation.
But why did you buy it on your X?
Why didn't I buy it on the X? Is because my friends one of my friends that I game share with, I wanted to be able to play it with them. Yes, multiplayer. I want to be able to play.
And like I said, that's a good point that you actually said, because I agree with you. If it's something like that, that's a good reason to buy it over there.
Now, I was going to buy it on the PC, but I don't have many friends that would like to play it on the PC. They're into first-person shooters and stuff. So I went where, okay, I got 5 friends over here that got the game already. So we'll bundle together and be able to play in that thing and stuff like that. So that's why I got it. Yeah.
No, I think the reason why I got that low score, this is my opinion of it. When they showed the game, everybody said, "Man, I love Fallout 4."
Yeah.
Well, some people. I was there. I was like, "Man, I love Fallout 4. And I could play it with friends."
Yeah.
So you thought of all your greatest experiences that you had singularly, and now you can do it with the presence of friends, because I was in this closed off world and I have FOMO. I was missing my guys. Now we could tackle these missions together. This is it. This is the one.
Yeah.
And I think expectations killed the game.
I agree.
I think the game is what the game is. And I believe people with unrealistic expectations blew it up, go inside,
Facts.
and
I think that falls on Todd Howard though too. If you go back and you look at their presentation, and what they said this game would be, it doesn't deliver on many of the promises that Todd Howard himself said this game would be.
Yeah,
you'd be able to create your own narrative of good guys versus villains. You can't do that.
Man.
You know,
Well-
you create a base.
Yeah.
People say they don't want to create bases and invest in their own bases because when you leave the server and you go back, everything you invested in isn't there.
What?
And let-
Call
and-
it what it is, bro.
listen.
Call it what it is, man. It's Fallout
What?
4
I
finesse
had-
yeah,
Yeah.
you lose all that stuff.
Oh,
You do?
hell
Okay.
no.
So
Yeah,
check this out.
Fallout 4 finesse edition. Let's go.
We were playing it, right? So I was playing it with my friends. We were in there. And they were helping me get some stuff that I needed. I was helping them get some stuff that they needed. We had a great time. And if we dropped out and when we started back over, whoever hosted, right? When you start the game, you get to host or you get to join. Whoever hosting, like I hosted since my internet is really fast. So when I start the game back up, when I quit the game, started back up, it leaves me exactly where I was. And they get to, then I get to ask them, hey, come join me again. And then that's how we finish that out. So I don't know. I mean, I didn't think that was possible because I was able to finish off with all the stuff that I had before and all the tasks that we had before.
No,
I
they're
have
talking
I
about
have
a
a question.
base. He said if you make a base, you leave and you come back and your base is gone?
Yeah, people have lost bases.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's a bug.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
like
I was
a
about
bug.
to say that is the worst State of Decay
That's
game
what I'm
ever
saying.
made. Like that is literally
Yeah.
the worst
Yeah.
version of State of Decay that could ever be made. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go play my State of Decay
Yeah.
too. I'm not even thinking about that game.
I was gonna say we were playing it and everything's safe for us. So,
Oh, okay.
but he's saying okay.
So it's
So
a bug
if
then.
yeah,
It's
if
a
that's a
bug.
bug, then
All
okay. Listen, I'm okay with bugs, and I think this year has taught me.
but real quick, Kratos. The other thing is, if you go back and, like, from my understanding is, you build a camp, right?
Yeah.
And your friends build this camp with you. Your friends go back. That camp isn't what it. That camp doesn't exist. It's not permanent. It doesn't live. You know, it's almost like a relic of itself.
Maybe I haven't put in enough hours in it yet to do that. I need to go back and read exactly what they intend for this game to happen and try for myself. But, you know, again, I've put maybe 12, 13 hours into the game, just, you know, within the two days that I've had the game. And I've enjoyed the game. I mean, so I can say that I've enjoyed it, had fun with my friends. The whole base camp thing, we're just getting into that. You know, eventually maybe give me another couple of days and I'll have some more information on that. But if that's the case, that sucks. And that's something that they can probably fix. But this year and last year has taught me about games and bugs, right? I think going forward, I have to say games are just going to be buggy. And I think we accepted that. We accepted it once we got off the traditional cartridge cycle where there's no updates. Because these guys will release a game, right? And then you download a patch that's 3 times as much as the game on the disc. And it's like, what the hell? Why am I buying a disc? If you're gonna if I gotta download 200 gigs just to get to play the game. And so I think, you know, with these ever expanding worlds and games getting bigger and open world and stuff like that, we're just gonna, I hate to say it, not that I want it to happen, but we're just gonna have to say this is what it is. We had PUBG, we had, you know, a lot of other games that we enjoy that's going to get fixed in I hate to say it, but we are going to be getting a lot of low-rated games because their initial state are just going to be trash. That's just what it is.
Hey, you know, I have some thoughts about this. I wanted to just to say real quick. I do agree that you know, the reviews and the outrage of Fallout 76 is a little bit overblown. It's a little bit much. Is the game really like a 40, high 40s, 50s game? You know, on Metacritic? Probably not. But I'm fine with that. And here's why I'm fine with that. I don't think Fallout 4 deserved to be a high 80s game. I think that game. I think that game also benefited from some of the hype that comes with Fallout, some of the hype that Bethesda used to have. And I think a lot of people glossed over the bugs that game had. They called it charm. They said, "Oh, it's a Bethesda thing. It's charming that these games are buggy." So when you can, it's almost kind of like how in football, when the team wins, everybody praises the quarterback. When the team loses, everybody blames the quarterback. It's like you gotta take the L's and the W's. You know, you gotta take it. Hey, look, you know, you enjoyed all those highs, and people let it go that, you know, your engine was old, last gen old, and you still didn't really do any upgrades to it. You kept it going, and people said, "Hey, we still enjoy this game." But now it's like you gambled a little too much. Now here it is. Now that hype, all that you had, all that has backfired, and now your game is getting reviewed harder than your other games have. Hey, it comes with that brand hype, that brand loyalty that you built up all these years. So you took that Fallout 4 kind of somewhat inflated Metacritic score. You're gonna take this somewhat deflated Metacritic score now. It's all a part of it.
Wow.
Yep.
I think what was acceptable yesterday is not acceptable today.
Right.
That's what I think. And I
true.
think people that put up with that Fallout 4, I think the anticipation for it and that period of time that it was launched and it was a dearth of games led to the fact that people was acceptable for whatever that was there and ate it up that way. Now that you have a plethora of games that's out there and they are at a high quality. These games are coming out right now. You have Assassin's Creed, and you have Tomb Raider. You have games that haven't even hit your radar yet that you're salivating for Black Friday to go out and purchase, to buy one get one free. You're starving for these games, and for them to put this game out and to go up against these heavy hitters in these streets right now,
facts.
To put that game up against that, it deserves that 14. It deserves that 5. It deserves exactly whatever it gets, because it's going up against games that didn't even get into your household yet, because the game caliber is too high.
Yes.
Your backlog is full of games that you purchased, that you like, yeah, I'm gonna get into this, and these games are good and they're meaty. But this game shows up and this man, you could have put that back in the oven, bro. I'm still looking to get at this stuff. So they deserve the criticism, and I hope the game survives enough that it can live through a couple of patches and a couple of updates, that it can reach that state that Todd Howard wanted it to get to. I believe as an MMO, or a semi-weirdo MMO, that it can get. Yeah, you understand? Because these games are because it's not a real MMO. Like, you know what a real MMO is.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know these console MMOs, these Destiny MMOs, you know, those dudes.
Yeah.
If this game can ever get to the state that they wanted it to get to, that's what they probably said to themselves. Well, we have Bethesda. We put it out. It'll live, it'll survive, and it'll make it to that point. I don't think it survives with games like Tomb Raider that I'm gonna go purchase and I'm gonna play.
Yeah.
And then when by the time next generation come around, because it's probably around the time that I would buy this game, you really think in your head that game is gonna be on the forefront of a purchase?
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to live with it, because Bethesda isn't like Ubisoft that drops like 4 or 5 games a year.
Yeah,
you know, they're going to have to ride with this. They're going to have to keep some, put some work in it for a couple years. Yeah, get some updates, market that thing. Hey, it's better now. Please give us a shot. That's why they already dropped it down. I mean, game just came out. It's already down like $40 to $40. You know. Yeah, they got to, because they don't put out as many games as the other publishers have, who just say, "Hey, look, we took an L. We gonna work on it." You know, and like Ubisoft works on their games, and you know how Ubisoft roll. They drop a game a year later. Hey, look, it's a whole new game. Come back.
You know, man, boss moves. What's up, baby? Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me say, like, I haven't really seen many people complaining about the multiplayer component of it, as far as the working. Like, you can jump on and you can get in and do whatever, right? What I'm seeing people are saying, they're going in on the bugs. Now here we go. It's Fallout 4. You already knew it had bugs. Why is this game shipping with bugs?
Yeah.
It's been patched. Why is it shipping with bugs?
That's the other thing too.
You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, it's like, yeah, like you said, like a while ago it was about charm. You know, people call it charm or whatever the case may be. But it's like there's a reason this game is gonna be $40 tomorrow.
It was charming when you ain't had no games.
Yeah.
You got games now, bro. It ain't charming.
It's like they're pulling the finesse. They thought, you know, hey, we're Bethesda, people love this game. We can drop it for 60. And people are already kind of skeptical because of, you said it's going to be Fallout with multiplayer. They kind of let you go past that. All right, cool. Well, we'll give that a shot. Why are people floating through the walls?
Oh, bro, no, I'm good.
Why does the dog have a cardboard box in the middle of his torso?
I'm good, man.
Yeah. Why are people moving around like scarecrows?
Exactly.
Right. It's like you've already been there with this game. It's not like you introduced a whole new engine that's buggy. Because I think people would have been okay with that. Like, it's a whole new engine. It looks great. It's a whole new engine. Okay, we'll work through that. You're giving us the same Fallout 4 with the same exact bugs.
Yeah, and that's wild because it's like I think there's a particular bug that was in the launch of Fallout 4. Of course, you know, you get those community mods that, you know, the community come in, they mod, you know, they put out mods that help Bethesda out. That bug got patched, but now that bug is back in Fallout 76. It's like, yo, you didn't. I mean, your community helped you out. You couldn't have moved that along to this one.
Really? I say
that
bug is like,
like herpes came back.
I said us. I shouldn't say us because I have no real intention of playing. I don't care for Fallout. I actually don't care for any Bethesda proper games. I like all their offshoot games that they publish. I like Dishonored, all the games that get ignored that actually work really well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Everybody, but they get ignored. They don't sell well. Why? But Fallout goes crazy. People, it's like y'all like being slapped by this stuff.
Well, that's the other thing.
I told you that. That's that joint. I told you that already. If you listen to the beginning of the show, why you got that one friend that come around as constantly getting, man, you suck, man. Well, we're family, baby. We're family. So, listen, I know Anchorman. Shout out to Anchorman. I know he's probably living through it. Welcome to how I felt with PUBG. But let me tell you something about the difference between, me and Brat tore it up. We tore PUBG up. We got a story. But you got a good one too.
Yeah.
But the thing is this.
In the house.
Down here, right? Ninjas in the house. It's a great story. PUBG was in a preview. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
This is not even given a chance to be in a preview. PUBG in its release state, as end state, as Game Pass state, as PlayStation 4 release state, is in a far better place than it was when it got previewed. Yeah. And I'm not going to even call it a launch because it was launched in a PC. The PC was beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? So when they just wanted it to get in your hands because they knew their window.
Yeah.
These dudes, like you said, Boss Move put in there, is a finesse. They try to finesse you while you wasn't looking. They try to use. Yes, they try to use your fandom, your love for the company, for the name of the game, to dig in your wallet. Because once you make that purchase, unless you brought it from Microsoft, you can't return it and get your money back.
Yep. Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
You have to live with it.
Yeah, you're stuck with that, baby. All right, so I'm honestly gonna tell you, man, I'm just gonna have to take a step back from the game until somebody can tell me. And I really, honestly, in this generation, I don't think I'm ever gonna get to it. Yeah. I don't ever think I'm gonna get to it. Yeah. When it was a game that was high on my list, like Kratos said, it's 4 or 5 of his friends that got it. That was going in. I see 4 or 5 of my friends. I said I'm gonna join in on Anchorman with it. When a dude tells you it's a shined up turd, bruh.
Yeah.
Like I really don't want to buy a turd. I'm sorry.
That's true, man. It's a great point. Great point. Well, gentlemen, we do need to wrap up tonight's podcast because it's 9:35.
Me and Kratos can go until tomorrow.
Yeah. But I want to give a big shout out to Kratos and Lord King for stopping by. Gentlemen, thank you. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Always. Mad love for you guys. Mad love. So even though I lost my voice tonight.
Hey, can I throw a match on this real quick? Did I hear about Microsoft opening an Asian Xbox division?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good, man. That is, man. Hey, listen, they are making.
Kratos set that up. Go ahead, Kratos.
Phil is making the right moves, right?
Who did that for you, Kratos?
He's making the right moves.
Oh boy,
he's in Asia. I mean, we know that that was the weakest spot, and he'd been taking a couple of plane trips over there for the last couple of years. So this is the result of that, and they're probably going to get more. And so I think next generation, we can all say with confidence that it's going to be a hell of a lot brighter than it is this generation.
Oh, fact.
And so that's good for gaming in general. That's going to push Sony to do what they're doing, and so on and so on.
Somebody because me and Kratos was going back and forth with it, right? We was talking about it, and we were talking about it in a totally different aspect. But I had somebody tweet out and told me, "Oh, Microsoft should just forget about them and just do the bro stuff and worry about here." And I said, "Listen, yes, that's exactly what he said."
Yeah, I saw that.
And I said, no. I respect your opinion.
Yeah,
I respect your ability to play it as safe in this lifetime as you can. You look both ways when you cross the street, and I believe in you. You put your seatbelt on, I feel that. You smoke outside the house, you don't smoke inside, I feel that. You're a great guy. But I don't need a great guy in my CEO and my president of my company. I need a risk taker.
Facts.
I need a guy that needs to go and see where we are lacking and just don't play to your strength, but build up your weaknesses so you can be overall strong.
Facts.
So
that talk.
When you sit there and you go to a market that you don't know and you don't understand, well, what you do is you learn and you study and you get better. And you try to figure out why your competition is so strong in this area because your competition saw your weaknesses and they went after it. Yep. So if you don't want anybody to exploit your weaknesses, you make that your biggest strength. So putting a division in that area so you can cultivate the mind share over there, that coincides with your stream box because they don't have a lot of spaces where they live.
Yep.
They live in little cubicles and stuff like that. So these big Xboxes and PlayStations don't really play there. That's why these Switches are selling.
Mm-hmm.
You get yourself a nice little stream box for a nice price, and you got Japanese games that can be streamed off of it into these homes. Then you make your weakness your strength. So yes, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's trying.
The only reason I said I pretty much called the guy a moron because if you keep doing the same thing expecting change, right? If Microsoft do the same thing that they did this generation, next generation,
they did.
How is it the result going to be different? But you see them, right, investing in first party, buying up studios, trying to get some marketing deals with third party. That's different than what they did this generation.
Yeah.
And so, we should all want them to succeed. We should all want these moves, no matter how big, and I know I give them shit for, AA studio, AAA, yada. Y'all know I'm only just being a troll. I'm just doing what I do. I'm entertaining the people. But at the end of the day, we gotta have games. We gotta have games to play on these systems. We know the next one's going to be powerful. It's going to have to show, but at the same time, they got to cater to the casual, and that's why they're trying to do the streaming thing. And so we should embrace it all. I don't think any trying something new should be a negative thing at all.
Not at all.
And that's just
you got a guy in your chat, Shadow of the Ghost. He said Xbox sold only 204 in Japan in October NPD. And he put the laugh out loud. They sold 204 without marketing. Now imagine if they got marketing.
Yeah.
Imagine if they had games that the Japanese actually wanted to play.
Yeah.
And that's what this is about. This is actually figuring
the Final
out
Fantasies.
Yeah. What do you guys like to play? Well, let's work on getting some of your devs over here to put stuff on our platform. Or hey, maybe we'll open up our own our own developer over here who makes these kind of games, and it's you guys who do it, you know, and you make the kind of games that you know that your people like to play, and we'll just put it on the platform. It's about figuring out what works in this area, what works for this demographic, and providing them what they want.
It's that foothold.
Yeah.
This Asian studio is the first foothold into that market because they're technically not in that market.
Nope.
But once you get there, and then you can find out what do these people want, what you know, how can we cater to them, and then once you do that, then you know the market. Then guess what? You don't have to be selling just 200 copies of your console. Now you can sell, you know, 2,000, 3,000, you know, 20,000, depending on what you're trying to do. So
in Japan, they're not playing. It's kind of a moot point about console sales in Japan because Japanese aren't really playing
consoles in general. Consoles in general. I think Sony just hit how many consoles they just sold?
Sony's not doing well in Japan either. I mean, historically, look at like what Sony used to do in Japan, not selling like the way they used to because the Japanese are playing mobile and handheld. That's why the Nintendo Switch killing it there. So that whole comment by Shadow is kind of like it's a moot point because the Japanese market is completely different than Europe.
But here's another thing too, Brock.
Yeah.
This is the biggest point people are missing. It's not necessarily about people in Japan. It's more so about people over in the Western territories that like Japanese RPGs and Japanese action games.
Yep.
The Final Fantasies, all of those games. Now,
Shadow died twice.
Right? When I saw at E3, I saw Microsoft come out with some of the old Final Fantasy games that was not even attempted on the Xbox platform are now coming to those. So guess what? If I'm an Xbox owner and I've been deprived of my JRPGs and my Japanese action games, now they're coming to that platform. Well, guess what? Now you're making me happy. Now I don't have to look on the other side of the aisle. Now you take care of me.
That's one less reason to have to buy the competition, and that's what Microsoft needs to. They need to create, eliminate these reasons to buy the competition. By us, you don't need to buy that. We got that over here. That which is also why I think kind of like these words coming out like the rumors that coming from a legitimate source because Clover always he seems to be very accurate leaker, but that Microsoft was considering buying IO Interactive. That's thinking, hey, look. Here's another good dev that makes good games. I'm not a Hitman fan, but a lot of people like those games.
Well, I like Hitman. Hitman was good.
Splinter Cell. People are just totally like looking past it. If they buy IO and you got the Hitman series and you have a wonderful engine, and hey, try it.
Yeah.
Try it.
Well. Gentlemen, I do need to wrap up.
Yeah, I know.
I gotta watch the movie with the wife, so have some quality time. Wink.
Oh yeah, you gotta do that, man.
Yes, sir. Never mind. I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah, baby.
But no, hey, seriously, Lord King, Kratos, seriously, man, awesome having you guys on tonight.
Thanks, man.
Mad love for you guys, seriously. So,
and I guess this dispels the fact that me and Kratos is not the same person.
Facts.
But real quick, Lord King, where can people find you? And give a plug.
Right, you can find me at ILPs on Sunday. That's Iron Lord Podcast Sundays at 11 p.m. during the football season. You can also catch me at Combat Talk with the King. And my new show that is coming out is called King of Statues. If you're a collector and you love collectibles, we're going to be talking about statues of this nature.
Wow,
as you see this Thanos right here that's in the middle. I'll be going into how they come in. As you can see, there's a couple of boxes that's right over here on the side. Those are all statues. I have a ton upstairs, and I'm going to be doing a lot of reveals. And that's where the white gloves are coming in with the Larry stuff that we were talking about earlier. just going into the whole collectible nature of our community, because we have a community. I don't know, a lot of you guys like to pick up the premium editions of stuff and going through the collectibles and your statues, and being that Gaming Forte is working in that space right now where he's seeing that everything is turning into the collectible nature, the collectability of things. He sees statues when he come in, and I'm pretty sure he gets a first eye on things. That community is large and is growing. So we're going to expound on that, and I'm going to have interviews. I'm going to be at comic book stores talking to your favorite artists. We're going to go through collectibles as far as books and stuff like that. As you can see, that's a 25-cent Super Marvel team up. So we're gonna have a good time. So that's where you can catch me at ILP on YouTube. Like, follow, and subscribe, and I'm there. And follow me on Twitter. It's a hoot.
Thank you, Lord King, man. Definitely looking at the new show, man. Looking forward to it. Kratos, what about you, man?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at JDubCity16, trying to keep you guys laughing with the gifts and the memes. You know what I mean? It's always good to be on the show, man, with all you brothers. You know, I'm getting ready for this turkey and this food tomorrow. Like I said on Twitter, I lost 15 pounds leading up to this day. So when I come out of here, I'm gonna weight the same going.
You're gonna weigh 5 more pounds.
There you go. You work hard going in, so when you come out, you know you can just keep on moving. Yeah.
Yo, Kratos, you a Cowboys fan?
No, I can't stand the Cowboys, and you know I'm in Texas.
Good. Yeah. Oh man,
I'm a Texans fan, man. I'm in H-Town.
Okay.
Half of my family, though. You know I'm from Dallas and Houston, so.
Oh boy,
your boys broke my quarterback's leg.
I'm glad we did.
Hey.
Wow, that's bad. That's a bad break too.
We say Enrique?
We should have won that game.
Hey man, we got close, man. Look, you know,
y'all don't believe in Colt McCoy?
Look, I believe in Colt McCoy. I think Colt McCoy is just as good as Alex Smith.
Last time Colt McCoy took the field against the Cowboys, he won.
He sure did on Thanksgiving.
Facts.
Yep.
Yeah. Fourth quarter comeback.
Yep. Yeah. I'm hoping the same thing happens tomorrow. We'll see what happens.
I want the Cowboys to be buried in a ditch somewhere.
My jet sucks, so can we stop talking about football? Thanks.
I'm with you as a Dolphin fan.
Yes, I'm a Jets fan. My blood green as hell.
My condolences. My Patriots.
Thank you. We died a long time ago. I'm looking for the resurrection.
Patriots got to come out and make a figurehead out of somebody after the last 2 weeks.
All right. Slow-mo. Slow-mo Forte, why don't you guys, because you guys are also part of the Scumcast, why don't you guys plug that?
Oh yeah, you know, Scumcast with the Ash and Luca on Saturdays, 4 p.m. Central ish. Whenever Luca decides to start the show is when it is.
I'll be there this Saturday though.
If you see Luca have a hair appointment, if Luca has a hair appointment, it'll be late in the day. If she doesn't, it'll be early.
A special guest will be King David this Saturday. It's gonna be pretty live. It's gonna be a little bit wild. You know how it normally is. But yeah.
Oh man, the King twice in 1 week. That's what I'm talking
about. 3 times if you count ILP. and I'm definitely gonna be doing a spotlight on Deontay Wilder, and then leading up to the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury fight. So hey,
a whole bunch of King this week. Hey, I be watching those combat talks. I be like, man, it's a whole other level. I'm thinking at right now.
Listen, I want you.
One in my feed one day.
I want you to think, right? But I want you to go place your bet, because if you may notice, I haven't lost yet.
That's true.
That's true. That is true.
Hey, you want to make some money? Watch that combat talk.
Just watch it and just go lay your bet. Hey, man, I'm just saying. Just saying.
Yeah. And Slow-mo, you and I, we're going to be on Breakfast with Boom on Friday. Forgot about that.
Yep, Friday morning, Breakfast at Boom.
Yeah, so check us out. Boom's a good dude. We had him on 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
He is a fellow second wave division agent, so I mad respect the Boom out there. He knows a quality game when he sees it.
Oh, he does a division stand. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I love that game. Just there's too much stuff out here, man. Too much stuff out here consuming my time.
Yeah. Last but not least, Eric Jackson, man. Where can you find?
You can find me also on the gaming perspective at 8:00 on Saturdays, 8:00 Eastern, and other than that, around Twitter, EC Jackson with an X.
All right, man. Sounds good. Well, everyone enjoy your holiday weekend. Big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Hey, by the way, King, I just saw your DM late with Attic. So, hey, big shout out to Lord Attic, man. Sorry we couldn't get you in. I didn't see the DM till late.
Yo, as soon as you send it to me, I send it to you. I didn't know what was going on. I was continuing with the show.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Attic, we'll have to get you on, man, for sure.
So speaking of Attic, man, King, man, you can't be changing your mind on that, man. Like 2 days later, thinking, man, do something else.
Oh no. Okay, so the bending of the knee rule was but Henrique knows. He understands. He was supposed to be a full bending. Like, you're supposed to be able to see him bend his knee because I was putting him on a t-shirt, bro. Like, I was not playing. I was literally going to screen capture it and get t-shirts made up. I got a t-shirt guy. I was getting t-shirts made up and it's going to say, knees must be bent. And, those t-shirts was going to be in front of a shirt, huh? Oh, boy. He's going to E3 and I was going to wear it and and put a sign that says, I'm with Attic on my shirt, like right. So listen, I had a whole bunch of
working at fan bro. 2019. I saw you last year working them.
Oh yeah, I was giving out shirts. I would have the whole E3 wearing a shirt with Attic face on it. Don't mess with me, like Don't ain't gonna be there, but Attic gonna be there. But listen, he knew what happened, but he was feeling sick, and I got sympathetic. I got soft. And then I realized I got soft. I'm not gonna lie, I got soft because I knew he went to the hospital the day before. You understand? So it's like extenuation. In circumstances, a joke and a bet is not better than my boy's life. So he's like, I knew he was only coming on the show to live up to his end of the bet. So, you only coming on the show to live up to your end of the bet, bro. You could have did it the next week. Nah, I got respect for you. All right, cool. Come on through. Let's get this done and get you out of here. But he stayed on the show. So I felt bamboozled. You understand? I felt hoodwinked. I felt led astray. So, yeah.
This is an awesome show, man. I'm always glad to have, especially you two guys on here. Never had you guys on together and talk to you at the same time, so this is a pleasure.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. So much, man. Always great.
Yeah, it's a great show. So,
real quick, Don't Call Me Danny wants to know what channel the Gaming Perspective podcast is on. Hey, E, can you help him?
Oh, the game. Oh, that's on Undead's channel. Yeah. I'm sorry, Dead XVI. Dude.
Something happening. All right, guys. See you later. They beating Eric J up.
On Twitter. Someone got put in the bushes.
All right, everyone. Hey, big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Thanks everyone for stopping by and dealing with my bad voice, as Luca would say. I'm always sick. I have like 10 kids. So
next week it'll be 2 weeks. Next week his voice will be 2% better.
I still got 2% voice.
Oh, shit. I'll sound like DMX next week. All right, everyone. Enjoy the long holiday weekend. We'll see you guys next Wednesday at a regular schedule time, 9 p.m.
Hey, be responsible tomorrow while y'all out here in these streets, man. People crazy. Drive for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
don't drink and drive. That shit ain't cool.
Yeah, no, that's what Uber and Lyft is for.
Yes.
There you go. Tell them about it.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, I'll see you at Camelot tomorrow night. Peace.
Camelot.